Chapter 171. The best defense is offense for. I guess so. Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. Sigh. Little girl, do you have any plans? The old man asked helplessly. I've decided to strike first. Lung Ruoxue explained. She had never been one to be a sitting duck. Since the enemies wanted to deal with her, she naturally couldn't give them enough time to prepare. Thus, she was already planning when she knew the news. But things changed later on, so she wanted to find a few more allies. Strike first? Are you confident? The old man asked with interest. You'll know then. Lung Ruoxue deliberately left him hanging. Little girl, what do you need me to do? The old man asked proactively. Since they were going to form an alliance, it was impossible for him to do nothing and enjoy the fruits of her labor, right? I need you to get rid of the parasites in the Eastern Lagoon Empire first. We'll see what happens with the rest later, Lung Ruoxue said simply. She wanted to cut off the Su family's lackeys before dealing with the Su family. There's no problem with that, the old man said straightforwardly. He had wanted to get rid of those people for a long time, but he had never thought of a good reason. But it seemed like he didn't need any reason now. After reaching an agreement with the old man and establishing the alliance contract, Lung Ruoxue left quietly. After leaving the Eastern Lagoon Empire's imperial palace, Lung Ruoxue and Freak rushed to the Southern Dusk Empire overnight. After flying nonstop for nearly 3 days, they finally arrived at lunar capital in the Southern Dusk Empire. It was in the afternoon when they entered the Southern Dusk country. Lung Ruoxue and Freak casually found a family inn, had some food, and had a simple rest. They waited until late at night before sneaking into the imperial palace of the Southern Dusk Empire. With great familiarity, they found the Phoenix Right Hall where the Empress resided. Lung Ruoxue got Rise to cast an invisibility spell on the two of them, and they walked into the inner hall, as if no one was there. Schwer, I don't think it's a good idea for us to barge in like this, Freak said with some concern on his face, his cheeks flushed red. Why not? It's the only way to avoid being discovered. Lung Ruoxue said in puzzlement, her face full of confusion. What does Freak mean? What I mean is, what if the couple is currently? Wouldn't we be disturbing them if we went in directly? Freak said very thoughtfully. Damn Freak, are you looking for a beating? What are you thinking? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly with her face full of black lines. Only Freak could think of something like this. Schwer, it's not impossible, Freak defended himself aggrievedly. What should we do then? Should we enter or not? Lung Ruoxue was also a little hesitant. After all, they were here to form an alliance with the Southern Dusk Empire. If they really ran into them, it would indeed not be good. Freak thought about it, and then pressed his ear against the window of the inner hall. Schwer, let's go in, he said after a while. Okay. Lung Ruoxue pushed open the door to the inner hall, and the two entered. 3 days later, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. Schwer, you're back so soon? Lung Qingtian was surprised to see his precious granddaughter in his study. Yes. Has everything been settled? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. Done, Lung Ruoxue said simply. Stinky girl, can't you say a few more words? Are you trying to make Grandpa anxious? Lung Qingtian was a little anxious. He had been waiting for news from Schwer, but this stinky girl insisted on one-word answers. She was deliberately trying to make him anxious. Grandpa, are you doubting your granddaughter? Lung Ruoxue hugged Lung Qingshan's arm and acted coquettishly. Of course I'm not doubting you, but you have to explain it to Grandpa. Otherwise, Grandpa will be worried, Lung Qingtian said with slight dissatisfaction. Okay. Lung Ruoxue stopped teasing her grandfather and explained her cooperation with the two empires in detail. In fact, she had gained a lot from her trip to the Southern Dusk Empire. At least, she now knew a lot of secrets from the Emperor and the Empress, including what had happened to her parents all those years ago. She didn't expect them to know more details than her grandfather. This made her even more determined to get rid of the Su family. Schwer, what are your plans? Lung Qingtian asked with a solemn expression after hearing everything his granddaughter had to say. The Su family is too ambitious. They actually want to. Grandpa, hasn't the Su family been waiting for news from the other 4 families? I've decided to reveal these things to those families. If they still choose to cooperate with the Su family, I'm afraid they won't be on the same page, Lung Ruoxue explained. She decided to use the Sao Discord plan. But she knew very well that even if she didn't use it, those families would still have different motives. Lung Qingtian nodded and then asked worriedly, what about the imperial families? The power of the imperial families wasn't any weaker than the 5 great families. If they all... Grandpa, don't worry. The status of the 5 great families and the imperial families are very different. So far, only the Western Light Empire is under the Su family's absolute control. As for the others, the Su family hasn't completely succeeded yet. But the bait set by the Su family this time is quite big. Lung Ruoxue didn't expect those people to care so much about the spots for the mystic realm. But the other 3 empires were not as strong as the Eastern Lagoon Empire and Southern Dusk Empire, so she was not too worried. The ones that were harder to deal with were those few great families. Chapter 172. Encountering the Men in Black Again 1. Grandpa, I'm going to see Guiyong and Guochang. Lung Ruoxue nodded and left Lung Qingshan's study. Lung Ruoxue arrived at the yard where Guiyong and his brother were staying. Just as she entered the yard, she saw the 2 brothers arguing with their faces red, and they were about to start a fight. What are you doing? Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and approached them. Guiyong snorted, rolled his eyes at Guochang, and said to Lung Ruoxue, Junior Aunt, you came at the right time. Please be the judge. What are you arguing about? Lung Ruoxue was curious. Is this about artificing? I want to refine artifacts, but he insisted on giving his opinions, Guochang explained angrily. The materials you put in were wrong. Of course I have to say it, Guiyong said matter-of-factly. He didn't think he was wrong. That's my business. I can put in any material of mine whenever I want. Guochang immediately retorted, not backing down at all. You 2 want to fight just because of this matter? Lung Ruoxue was really speechless. These 2 people together aren't young anymore. Can they not be so childish? Humph. Both of them snorted and turned their heads away at the same time, ignoring each other. I have something to discuss with you too. Lung Ruoxue changed the topic. She didn't intend to get involved in their fight. After all, every artificer's refining habits and techniques were different, so how could they be generalized? What is it, Junior Aunt? The 2 turned their heads simultaneously and looked at Lung Ruoxue with flattering expressions. Is everything all right in your artificer association? Lung Ruoxue asked implicitly. What she implied was that it was time for them to go back. Moreover, their gazes made her hair stand on end. It was really unbearable. Guiyong and Guochang looked at each other in bewilderment. They immediately understood that Lung Ruoxue was here to chase them away, but they didn't want to leave yet. Don't worry, Junior Aunt. The Artificer Association is very free. Nothing major usually happens, and we don't have to deal with small things, Guiyong explained with a smile, automatically converting Lung Ruoxue's words into concern. Yes, Junior Aunt. Rest assured. You don't need to worry about us, Guochang said cooperatively with a smile on his face. These 2 people are obviously pretending to be stupid. Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless. What do they want? To be honest, they had stayed in the general's mansion for a few days, but they had rarely looked for her. This puzzled her. What is their goal? Lung Ruoxue had been thinking about this question for some time. Oh, in that case, just stay here in peace. I'm leaving, Lung Ruoxue said a little gloomily and then turned and left. Seeing Lung Ruoxue being so careful, the old man couldn't take it anymore. What's so important that you're being so careful? Let's talk in the inner hall, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Stinky old man, I'm going to scare you to death. Let's go. The old man led Lung Ruoxue and Freak into the inner hall. Little girl, can you tell me now? The old man said anxiously. This girl is really too evil. She deliberately whetted my appetite. How despicable. Chapter 173. Encountering the Men in Black Again 2. Seeing that the old man was getting anxious, Lung Ruoxue didn't beat around the bush and told him the news she had heard in the Southern Dusk Empire. Little girl, is this news accurate? The old man's eyes widened in shock as he looked at Lung Ruoxua in disbelief. Lung Ruoxua nodded. When the emperor of the Southern Dusk Empire told them these things, he was afraid that they wouldn't believe him, so he established a contract. The binding power of contracts in this world was very terrifying, so the news was absolutely trustworthy. Moreover, she believed that the other imperial families and the great families would definitely have heard about it. I really didn't expect the Su family to be so ambitious. The old man was a little angry but also a little helpless. It was no secret that the Su family was ambitious. But which top force was not ambitious? It was simply unrealistic. Thus, as long as the Su family didn't provoke them, no great family or imperial family would be willing to deal with the Su family. After all, others would only benefit from it if there was an internecine outcome with the Su family. Haven't there been signs for a long time? Lung Ruoxua said lightly. The Su family had long stretched their tentacles to the various imperial families and great families, even to the major academies. Moreover, their ambition was exposed in advance this time because they wanted to deal with her. Then what should we do now? The old man couldn't help asking. Yes, even though they knew about the Su family's restless ambitions a long time ago, no one had ever thought of dealing with the Su family. However, the Su family's wings were probably already hard now. Alas! What a miscalculation. It's not too late to deal with them now. Lung Ruoxua smiled gently to console him. To be honest, she didn't expect the Su family to accidentally reveal all their forces in order to obtain spots for the mystic realm. Is this considered penny wise, pound foolish? Little girl, do the other 4 great families know about this? The old man asked curiously, his face full of anticipation. They should know more or less, but it's definitely not as clear as the investigation by the Southern Dusk Empire. I have already sent people to inform them. As for whether they believe it or not, it's not up to me. Lung Ruoxua said nonchalantly. The Feng and He families would definitely believe her, but she couldn't guarantee the same for the Yi and Shui families. After all, both families had people who disliked her. Moreover, they wanted so badly to obtain spots to enter the mystic realm that they would probably be blinded by benefits. I'm relieved as long as the 5 great families don't unite. The old man touched his heart slightly and seemed to be relieved. It's hard to say. After all, the person they want to deal with now is me, not you for the time being. Lung Ruoxua added fuel to the fire. At the same time, she gave the old man a heads up in case he didn't take it seriously. Little girl, can't you let this poor old man heave a sigh of relief first? The old man glared at Lung Ruoxua in complaint. Old man, don't you want a spot for the mystic realm? Lung Ruoxua suddenly asked. Of course I want it, but you're worried about your descendants? Lung Ruoxua asked. This old man was already at peak spiritual supremacy, so she didn't believe that he had stayed in the palace because he couldn't break through. Little girl, if there was someone as smart as you among my descendants, I wouldn't be so worried anymore, the old man said helplessly. The Eastern Lagoon Empire was the headquarters of their Li family, so he couldn't lose it. The children and grandchildren will have their own happiness. If they don't live up to expectations, do you want to take care of them for life? How long can you take care of them? Lung Ruoxua said in disapproval. If the descendants were disappointing, the items left behind by the ancestors would be destroyed sooner or later, regardless of how much they left behind. Little girl, I'm not as open-minded as you think. The old man sighed. That's why you look so old, Lung Ruoxua suddenly said. What does this have to do with my appearance being old? The old man was stunned and puzzled. You worry too much. This girl is teasing me. The old man was speechless. Old man, we're leaving. The operation will begin in 3 days. Lung Ruoxua pulled Freak onto Quill's back and disappeared with a whoosh. Lung Ruoxua and Freak quickly returned to the general's mansion. Freak, rest early today, Lung Ruoxua said to him from the entrance of the listening snow pavilion. They had almost not had a good rest these few days. Swear I will miss you, Freak said affectionately with a nod. Be good and go back to your room to sleep quickly, Lung Ruoxua said as she walked into her room. The door closed behind her. Oh Swear, why are you so unromantic? Freak couldn't help thinking while looking at the closed door. 3 days passed quickly. Late at night, Lung Ruoxue and Freak met up with the old man in the palace. Old man, go with the emperor. Big sister Mo and I will go together. We have to capture all of them in one fell swoop. Don't let any fish escape the net, Lung Ruoxue reminded and casually handed them a bottle of pills. This medicine was newly concocted by her, and the effects were absolutely several times better than the one she gave Fu Mingzhu back then. Tonight, their goal was to get rid of the minions planted by the Su family in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. Moreover, Grandpa Lin would make a move at the same time. Her grandfather had already gone to the Heavenly Phoenix Academy to help him. Don't worry. I won't let a single fish go, Li Yuan promised. How could he let someone who threatened his rule live in this world? After distributing the tasks, Lung Ruoxue and the others split up into two groups and headed straight for the Mo family and the Fu family. Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and Mo Yingyue soon arrived at the Mo family mansion. Under Mo Yingye's lead, the three of them quickly arrived at the room where the patriarch of the Mo family lived. Big sister Mo, what do you plan to do with them? Lung Ruoxue asked softly before entering the room. She arranged for Mo Yingyue to come to the Mo family in hopes that she could handle her family matters herself. I want them to suffer a fate worse than death, Mo Yingyue said with hatred. In fact, she hated her grandfather, the patriarch of the Mo family, the most. Second in line was her self-righteous and arrogant uncle. But she knew that now was not the time to kill them. Their goal tonight was only to control them. Chapter 174. Encountering the Men in Black again 3. Then let's go in now. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She liked the punishment of living a life worse than death. Okay. Mo Yingyue pushed open the door and entered first. Why are you here? Patriarch Mo, who was about to go to bed, was surprised that no one notified him that his granddaughter, the Empress, came. These servants are really negligent. What? Grandfather, can't I be here? Mo Yingyue said indifferently with a sweet smile on her face. Of course not. What I mean is, why didn't anyone notify me? Patriarch Mo said while suppressing the anger in his heart. If it wasn't for Master not wanting me to start a conflict with the imperial family now, would I be so easygoing? It would have taken too long to notify, Mo Yingyue explained. The guards and servants in the yard were probably sleeping soundly now. Then why did you come to see grandfather? Patriarch Mo asked as he sat on a chair. Yes, there's something. Oh, and these two are? Patriarch Mo's gaze suddenly turned to Lung Ruoxue and Freak. He actually couldn't see their cultivation levels. It was too strange. He was a spiritual sovereign at any rate, so he would never believe that these two beautiful little fellows who looked less than 20 years old would be stronger than him. Didn't grandfather want to see Lung Ruoxue? I brought her here, Mo Yingyue said with a smile. You are Lung Ruoxue? Patriarch Mo was shocked. Is she so strong that even I can't tell her cultivation level? Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded lightly and casually sized up the patriarch of the Mo family. Patriarch Mo was about 70 years old. He had an ordinary appearance, a pair of shrewd eyes, and decent strength. He was an advanced spiritual sovereign. But her impression of him wasn't good. Moreover, she really hated his scheming eyes. Oh, so it's Miss Lung. This old man was rude. I have long heard of Miss Lung's great name. It's a pity that I haven't been able to meet you all this time. Patriarch Mo said with a flattering face. Big sister Mo, let's get down to business. Lung Ruoxue said directly to Mo Yingyue without even looking at Patriarch Mo grandfather. I'm here today to ask you to give up your position as the patriarch. Mo Yingyue said coldly, as if what she said was an ordinary thing. What did you say? Patriarch Mo was so angry that his face turned livid. How could he have such an unfilial granddaughter? I want grandfather to give up your position as the patriarch, Mo Yingyue repeated patiently. She knew that the old patriarch and Ruoxue decided not to kill anyone from the Mo family, because of her. Since that was the case, she certainly couldn't disappoint them. She had to take control of the Mo family. You unfilial grandchild. Guards. Chase her out. The Mo family no longer welcomes her. Patriarch Mo shouted out directly. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling, and he was breathing heavily. Grandfather, calm down, Emo Inua said with concern. She went forward, pinched her grandfather's mouth, and threw a pill into it. Cough cough. What did you feed me? Patriarch Emo clutched his throat in panic, trying to spit out the pill. But the pill melted as soon as it entered his mouth, and it was long gone. Don't worry. It's not poison. It won't kill. Emo Inua said nonchalantly. She didn't know how long Ruaksha's medicine could last. Should I give him a few more? Big sister Emo, one pill is enough, Lung Ruashua said with some amusement after seeing through Emo Yingyu's thought. The person who took her newly concocted controlling pill wouldn't wake up at all, unless given an antidote. Oh grandfather, pass me the position of patriarch now. Emo Inua tried asking curiously. Okay, I'll pass it to you. Patriarch Emo said obediently. You will announce this news tomorrow morning. Exterminate all those who oppose you. Emo Inua ordered and then left Patriarch Mo's room. Okay, kill all those who oppose without mercy. Patriarch Emo promised fiercely. The three of them then left Patriarch Mo's room. Then Emo Inua did the same to her uncle and the elders in the family. In less than an hour, the entire Emo family was in Emo Yingyu's hands. Big sister Emo, I didn't expect you to be so devious, Lung Ruashua teased on the way out of the Emo family mansion. Big sister Emo is so bad. She actually ordered Emo Changha not to touch any woman for the rest of his life. Humph. There's no graver punishment for him. Emo Inua explained with a smile. That uncle of hers loved women the most. Forcing him never to touch women in his life was definitely more unbearable than killing him. However, Ruashua, will they really listen to me? Emo Inua couldn't help asking. Did Ruashua make this medicine sound too amazing? Of course. Big sister Emo, you have to have confidence in me. This young lady is an honest child. I don't know how to deceive others. I absolutely won't lie to anyone. Lung Ruashua promised while patting her chest. At the side, Freak quietly listened to the conversation between the two women. Cold sweat rolled down his forehead, and his heart kept skipping. Women are really too scary. I can't let these two women meet frequently in the future, or else men will be in danger. When they arrived at the meeting place, Lung Ruashua found out that her group was the fastest. Will Grandpa and the old man be okay? She couldn't help worrying. After a while Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang arrived. Grandpa Lin, why did you take so long? Lung Ruashua asked in puzzlement. Schwer, we encountered a team of men in black again at the Chen family. If old Lin and I hadn't teamed up, we might not have been able to leave, Lung Qingtian explained. Men in black. Speaking of men in black, Lung Ruashua couldn't help thinking of the man in black they encountered before the academy competition. Oh no, let's go to the Fu family, Lung Ruashua suddenly said. Her grandfather and the others had encountered the men in black, so the old man's group might have also encountered them. Moreover, the old man's group was far weaker than her grandfather's group. Chapter 175. Encountering the men in black again for Ruashua, will anything happen to Yuan and the old patriarch? Emo Inua asked anxiously. Let's go quickly. We may still be in time. Lung Ruashua said to Emo Inua, who was so nervous that her limbs were a little cold. After Lung Ruashua and the others rushed to the Fu family, it was as they had imagined. The old man was fighting with several men in black, and he had also released his spirit beasts. One was protecting the injured Li Yuan, and the other was fighting with the other men in black. Old man, why are you so unlucky to meet so many men in black? Lung Qingtian teased happily when he saw the disheveled appearance of the aloof old patriarch. This old man actually met twice as many men in black as them. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and help. The old man, who was dodging the attacks of the men in black from left to right, roared angrily. He couldn't let any of these people run away. Otherwise, tonight's plan would be considered a failure. But after seeing Lung Qingtian and the others come, he was finally relieved. I'm coming. Lung Qingtian jumped up, floated in the air, and released Thunder Knight. Thunder Knight, go help those beasts. Lung Qingtian instructed and then directly joined the battle. His participation instantly relieved the pressure on the old man. Yes, master, Thunder Knight replied. He gently flapped his wings and directly pounced at a man in black. Yuan, are you okay? At this moment, Mo Ingyue no longer cared about the danger, and ran to Li Yuan's side worriedly. Her eyes welled up with tears and anxiousness. I'm fine. Don't worry. Li Yuan hugged his beloved wife tightly and comforted her. How can you be fine after losing so much blood? Mo Ingyue didn't believe Li Yuan's words at all, as tears rolled down her cheeks. It's not all my blood. Really, trust me. Li Yuan coaxed helplessly. Suddenly, Li Yuan saw a cold light flash before his eyes. Without thinking, he pulled Mo Ingyue into his arms tightly and shielded her with his body. Mo Ingyue had no idea what was happening behind her, but she felt that something was amiss when Li Yuan pulled her into his arms. Thinking of this, she couldn't help exclaiming in concern, Yuan! Swish! The cold light was shot down by a bright red light. Don't be scared. I'm fine. Li Yuan patted Mo Yingye's back gently to console her. His eyes drifted to Lung Ruoxue, who was not far away, with gratitude in them. He knew that he would have definitely died if Lung Ruoxue hadn't released a wisp of spiritual power in time. Lung Ruoxue only nodded slightly when she received Li Yuan's gaze. But seeing the two of them talking to each other affectionately, she couldn't help being a little exasperated. Alas! As expected of a loving husband and wife, please choose somewhere less dangerous. The spirit beasts, who were unwilling to be the third wheel, still shamelessly stayed close to them to protect them. Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze back to the battlefield. The weakest among this group of men in black were actually advanced spiritual sovereigns, and two were spiritual supremacies. When did the Su family cultivate such a group of experts that resembled death warriors? Probably no one knew about it, right? On the battlefield, Lung Qingtian, Lin Liang, and the old man were engaged in a fierce battle with the men in black. All sorts of spiritual power could be seen flying in the moonlight. But some of the men in black seemed to be unwilling to continue fighting, and were looking for opportunities to escape. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue let out all her beasts. Watch them. Don't let any of them escape. Don't worry, master. With me here, none of them will be able to run away, Rai said confidently. He then enlarged his body, becoming like an iron wall surrounding the entire battlefield. Damn. It's actually another divine beast. Lin Liang, who was fighting with the men in black, unintentionally caught a glimpse of the huge golden python, and was so shocked that his jaw almost fell off. How many divine beasts does this girl have? He was speechless. Yes, a divine beast. The old man was also surprised. This aura couldn't be wrong. Moreover, he also felt that his beasts were a little afraid. Old Lung, how many divine beasts does Ruoxue have? Lin Liang found time to ask during the fight. It was really infuriating to compare yourself with others. Some people might not even have one divine beast in their lifetime, but Lung Ruoxue had at least two. Alas! I'm a little envious of the girl's good luck. I don't know either. Lung Qingtian pretended not to know. How could someone as kind as him scare them to death? Qingtian, I'm so envious of you. Why doesn't our Li family have such a descendant? The old man complained, feeling uncomfortable. Just be envious. Lung Qingtian said proudly as he casually killed another man in black. Under the combined attack of the three spiritual supremacies, more than half of the men in black died quickly, and the ones who were not dead were injured. Slowly, the men in black died one by one, and only the two men in black at the spiritual supremacy level remained on the scene. One of the men in black knew that they wouldn't be able to escape today and couldn't help saying, "How can three spiritual supremacies bully us with numbers?" So what if we're bullying you with numbers? Weren't you bullying us with numbers just now? The old man asked in return. They actually wanted to use such a tactic against them? It was useless. There's no need to say so much to them. Let's attack together, Lung Qingtian said straightforwardly. Okay, let's do it together and end the battle quickly. Lin Liang agreed. They could go home and sleep after the fight. How can we miss out on the gang fight? Lung Ruoxue and Freak also came over. Ruoxue, don't snatch from us, Lin Liang said with some dissatisfaction. Their old bones hadn't had a good workout for a long time. Master, leave these two to us. A little black fox jumped into Lung Ruoxia's arms and acted coquettishly. He hadn't fought in a long time, and his claws were itchy. Lung Ruoxia looked at them speechlessly. Why do these people like to fight so much? All right, fight together then. Lung Ruoxia said helplessly. Then she turned around and left the battlefield with Freak. Chapter 176. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 1. Soon 3 old men and the numerous spiritual beasts worked together to kill the enemy spiritual supremacies instantly. And there weren't even any corpses left. Old man, how did you meet the men in black? Did the matter with the Fu family not succeed? Lung Ruoxia asked in puzzlement. It was a success. After we gained control of the Fu family, we somehow alerted these men in black. We didn't even know where they came from before we started fighting. Fortunately, you came in time, or the news would have definitely leaked, the old man said worriedly. How dangerous. We also encountered men in black. Lung Qingtian looked at the old man sympathetically. You encountered them too? Then you're really fast, the old man said enviously. He was the only spiritual supremacy on his side, and he had to take care of Li Yuan, so fighting had been a little difficult. We didn't meet as many men in black as you, Lin Liang explained. Actually, we once killed a man in black before the academy competition. Lung Ruoxia glanced at them and explained to them about the encounter with the man in black that day. Does this mean that these men in black have been sneaking into the Eastern Lagoon Empire for some time? It's just that we didn't realize it all along, the old man said worriedly. Although these men in black were death warriors, they had their own thoughts, so they were difficult to deal with. I think these people are here to deal with me, but they treated the residences of the Fu and Qin families as temporary accommodations, Lung Ruoxia analyzed. It seemed like she needed to go to the Southern Dusk Empire again. Then the Mo family. The old man looked at Mo Ingyue and stopped speaking. Lung Ruoxia frowned and guessed after thinking. Not at the Mo family. I guess they don't trust the Mo family yet. Everyone nodded in agreement. Everyone, tonight's business is over. Let's go back first. Lung Qingtian said when he saw that it was almost dawn. Let's go back. Then everyone left the Fu family mansion. After returning to the general's mansion, Lung Ruoxia and the others went straight to their rooms to rest. After waking up the next morning, Lung Ruoxia went to look for her grandfather. She discussed the matter with him in detail, and then went to the Southern Dusk Empire with Freak. After they arrived at the Southern Dusk Empire, Lung Ruoxia and Freak went straight to the palace to meet the emperor. In the imperial study, sitting on the dragon throne, Huang Fuzhen was deep in thought about what Lung Ruoxia just said. The empress was sitting next to him, also deep in thought. Meanwhile, after Lung Ruoxia and Freak finished speaking, they were resting on chairs while having tea and snacks. Ruoxia, have you settled everything in the Eastern Lagoon Empire? Huang Fuzhen asked with a frown after some thought. The Eastern Lagoon Empire really acted fast. Yes, that's why I came specially to help you, Lung Ruoxia said after taking a sip of tea. If not for the appearance of the men in black, she probably wouldn't have thought of coming to the Southern Dusk Empire to help them. Then when do we start? Huang Fuzhen asked. He had endured the Su family for many years, and had long wanted to take action. But he didn't dare to act rashly before he was absolutely confident. The day after tomorrow. I want to visit the Hua family tomorrow, Lung Ruoxia said after some thought. There had been no news from the Hua family since she sent the news out, so she wanted to confirm it in person. It would be best if she could rope the Hua family in. But if the Hua family wanted to become enemies with her, she didn't care. Okay, the day after tomorrow then. I'll get someone to arrange a place for you to stay, Huang Fuzhen said warmly. The matter that had been weighing on his mind for so many years was about to be resolved, and he felt much more relaxed. Thank you for your kind intentions, Your Majesty. Our current inn is fine, Lung Ruoxia said with a light smile. She was afraid that the news would leak if she stayed in the palace. What if the Su family's spies found out? Wouldn't the Su family be on their guard? Your Majesty, we will take our leave first, Lung Ruoxia continued, and then left the imperial palace with Freak. After returning to the inn, Freak followed Lung Ruoxia directly into her room. Schwer, are we really going to the Hua family tomorrow? He couldn't help asking after they sat down. He didn't want to go to the Hua family. What do you mean by that? We will save a lot of effort if we can pull them to our side. They are the first great family, and their strength can't be underestimated after all, Lung Ruoxue explained. But Freak was very unwilling. Why? Are you still thinking about what happened last time? No one knows that we did it. What are you afraid of? Lung Ruoxue teased softly. Freak is really too cute. I'm not afraid. Freak quickly denied with a slightly awkward expression. How could he be afraid of such a small thing? He just didn't want to have anything to do with the Hua family. That damn Hua Qing was always eyeing his Schwer so covetously. Since you're not afraid, rest early today. Well, go see the Hua family tomorrow morning. Lung Ruoxue didn't expose him. She only smiled slightly and struck while the iron was hot. Freak nodded and then returned to his room to rest very consciously. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue woke up, washed up, and went to find Freak. After breakfast, they went straight to the Hua family's main residence. In the main hall of the Hua family residence, Hua Yi sat on the patriarch's seat, and the elders of the Hua family sat on both sides of him. Patriarch, it's best for us to decide early on this matter. The first elder sitting below Hua Yi urged anxiously. Chapter 177. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 2. Patriarch, Lung Ruoxue wants to see you. A servant walked in to report. Lung Ruoxue? What is she doing here? An elder murmured. Invite her in. Hua Yi ordered coldly. Yes, Patriarch. The servant left the hall. Hello, Patriarch Hua. Lung Ruoxue said courteously as she walked into the meeting hall under the servant's lead. Hua Yi nodded and said very politely, Miss Lung, long time no see. Please have a seat. Miss Lung, may I know what brings you here? The first elder couldn't help asking curiously. He had a very good impression of Lung Ruoxue, and had always hoped that the Hua family would have a mistress like her. Unfortunately, she wasn't interested in their young master. Alas! What a pity. I'm here about the Su family. Lung Ruoxue cut straight to the chase, and observed the reactions of the people sitting. The Su family? The elders exchanged glances, but no one spoke. They were all waiting for her to continue. Lung Ruoxue glanced coldly at Hua Yi and the elders sitting there and cursed in her heart. What cunning old foxes! She then continued. I want to deal with the Su family. I wonder if the Hua family has any intentions of cooperating. What can you offer for this cooperation with our Hua family? We are the first great family on the Lingfeng continent. An elder took the lead to say. Apart from being the first great family, how many spiritual supremacies does your Hua family have now? Lung Ruoxue asked instead of answering. To be honest, others might care about the Hua family's status, but she didn't care at all. After all, she just needed to bring out one divine beast casually, and it would be enough to cause the Hua family no small amount of trouble. The elder fell silent. There were 2 spiritual supremacies in the Hua family, but only the patriarch of the Hua family was at home. The other, the former patriarch of the Hua family, had long since disappeared. I'm here to cooperate with you with sincerity. I don't care if you don't cooperate with me because of your high status. But I have to say this first. If we cooperate now, our relationship will be equal. But if you want to cooperate with me in the future, that may not be the case, Lung Ruoxue said half seriously, half threateningly. The best way to deal with such self-important families was to crush them with imposing manner. Miss Lung, you want to cooperate with us to deal with the Su family, and the Su family wants to cooperate with us to deal with you. The Su family's offer is very generous. I wonder what conditions you will offer? Another elder, who was very calculative, said, I will not make any offers. I don't care if you want to cooperate with the Su family to deal with me. I just hope that you won't regret it later. Lung Ruoxue's cold eyes glanced at the elder who spoke just now, then looked around at the other elders with a smile that was not a smile, and finally looked at Hua Yi. After staring at Hua Yi for a few seconds, Lung Ruoxue averted her gaze and turned to Freak. Since the Hua family isn't sincere in cooperating, let's not waste time. Let's go. Freak said expressionlessly and stood up. Hey Miss Lung. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen really left, the first elder glanced at Hui, then stood up and chased after them. Miss Lung. The first elder caught up with Lung Ruoxue and looked at them apologetically. What's the matter, first elder? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. I hope you don't mind what happened just now. The first elder said awkwardly. He never knew that a little girl could make him feel so stressed. First elder, I'm very petty. Since the Hua family looks down on me and isn't willing to cooperate with me, then forget it, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. But she knew that the Hua family probably wouldn't cooperate with the Su family. Plotting with the Su family for benefits was definitely a dead end. Hui wasn't that stupid. After saying what she wanted to say, Lung Ruoxue and Freak left the Hua family's main residence under the first elder's helpless gaze. Swear this Hua family really doesn't know what's good for them. They will regret it in the future, Freak said indignantly on the way back to the inn. Freak, I'm not angry. You don't have to console me like this, Lung Ruoxue said, a little touched. Hee, it's good that you're not angry. Freak smiled, not caring that Schwer had seen through him. Schwer's understanding of me is getting better and better. After watching Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen leave, the first elder returned to the meeting hall. Patriarch, are we really not choosing to cooperate with Lung Ruoxue? The first elder asked directly after sitting down in his seat. First elder, Lung Ruoxue is just a little girl. What qualifications does an ignorant little child have to cooperate with our Hua family? An elder said disdainfully. Ignorant little child? Ninth elder, I'm afraid you're not Lung Ruoxue's opponent with your strength. The first elder berated while looking coldly at the ninth elder. These people of the Hua family had always been high and mighty for many years. They thought highly of themselves and looked down on others. How is this possible? I'm a peak spiritual sovereign. The ninth elder roared in disbelief. Wasn't the first elder exaggerating a little too much? You can choose not to believe. The first elder didn't bother to talk nonsense with them. Instead, he stared at Hui and waited for the patriarch to decide. Let's wait and see first. Hui slowly spat out these words. The Su family and Lung Ruoxue would have to face each other sooner or later, so he didn't intend to participate in their battle for the time being. To put it plainly, he wanted to be the fisherman that benefited from the fight. But he would find out later that fishing for benefits from Lung Ruoxue wasn't a good idea. After returning to the inn, Lung Ruoxue and Freak formulated a detailed plan to ensure that nothing would go wrong. The next day, Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to the Imperial Palace and met up with Huang Fuzhen, ready to attack at any moment as promised. Huang Fuzhen looked at the time and said to Lung Ruoxue, Ruoxue, let's do it. Lung Ruoxue nodded. You'll take care of Su Lianer. Leave the men in black to us. Chapter 178. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 3. Quill, rise. You must guard the entire imperial palace, Lung Ruoxue ordered her beasts. Master, don't worry. Nothing will be able to get through us. Rise, who wrapped himself as a bracelet around Lung Ruoxue's snow-white wrist, promised. After arranging everything, Lung Ruoxue and Huang Fuzhen went to the Phoenix Dwell Palace where Su Lianer lived. After entering the inner hall of the Phoenix Dwell Palace, Lung Ruoxue and the others couldn't help feeling a little awkward, because Su Lianer was sitting on a man with her clothes all over the place. Su Lianer, who had been confined in her palace, was stunned when she suddenly saw so many people appear together. But she quickly recovered and hurriedly knelt on the ground. Your Majesty. Su Lianer knelt while quickly sorting out her disheveled clothes with her hands. She seemed to be terrified in her heart, and her face was pitiful. She didn't expect the emperor to come suddenly and see such an inelegant side of her. Your Majesty, it seems noble consort Su is unwilling to be lonely and had an affair, Lung Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Lianer and the man beside her. Sure enough, it was another man who resembled her father. Lung Ruoxue, it's you again. As soon as Su Lianer saw Lung Ruoxue, intense hatred burst out of her eyes. Whenever she saw Lung Ruoxue, she would think of that slut who robbed her love. She really couldn't understand how she couldn't compare to that woman who had nothing. Why? Why couldn't she obtain the heart of the man she loved? Do you hate my mother? Lung Ruoxua asked indifferently. Women who hated each other for love could do anything. And Su Lianer just happened to be such a vicious woman. Yes, I hate her and wanted her dead. But why didn't only she die? Why? Su Lianer roared out of control with a hideous face. Back then, she had racked her brains to trick the Lung Lai couple into coming to the Southern Dusk Empire. She originally wanted to get rid of that slut, but she didn't expect to accidentally kill the man she loved. Because she had the protection of the man she loved. Lung Ruoxua reminded very kindly. No. Brother Lai didn't love her at all. He loved me. Su Lianer seemed to be falling into her own memories crazily, and the past became her nightmare. Do you think we'll let you go just because you pretend to be crazy? Lung Ruoxua coldly exposed her. This woman was really too scheming, and leaving her alive would definitely cause a disaster. I can't believe I didn't trick you. Tell me, what do you want to do to me? Su Lianer stood up from the ground arrogantly. Her terrified and pitiful appearance from before was nowhere to be seen. Since they already saw through her, she might as well stop pretending. She was a precious daughter of the Su family, so she didn't believe that the emperor would dare to kill her. Your Majesty, I really pity you, Lung Ruoxua suddenly said while looking at Huang Fuzhen. She has nothing to do with me. Huang Fuzhen said indifferently, without the slightest trace of anger from being cuckolded. Your Majesty, you said it has nothing to do with you? Then where did our daughter come from? Su Lianer provoked. She hated it when men tried to distance themselves from her. Was she a virus? She's just a bastard. Huang Fuzhen's face was full of disgust. This woman was still acting at a time like this. How can you say that the daughter you've loved for 18 years is a bastard? You are really heartless. Su Lianer laughed, her face full of pride and flaunting. I have never touched you. What is that daughter if not a bastard? I'm afraid you don't even know who her father is, do you? Huang Fuzhen mocked disdainfully. All these years, he had been forcing himself to love this mother and daughter all for today. Today he was going to avenge his grandfather. No, how is this possible? I don't believe it. Su Lianer screamed in disbelief. You have to believe it, Huang Fuzhen said coldly and ignored her. Su Lianer, where are the people you sent to kill my parents now? Lung Ruoxua asked. Although Su Lianer was the mastermind, she didn't intend to let the murderers go either. Do you think I will tell you? You will never know. Haha. Su Lianer laughed hysterically, but her heart was extremely miserable. Ruoxua, she probably killed those people long ago. Don't underestimate this woman's obsession with your father, Huang Fuzhen quickly said, afraid that Lung Ruoxua would be affected by Su Lianer. Su Lianer, where are your people? Lung Ruoxua nodded and asked lightly. It made no difference to her whether Su Lianer said it or not. She wouldn't let anyone from the Su family go anyway. Your Majesty, do you really want to kill me? Su Lianer looked at Huang Fuzhen with gentle eyes. Is there any question about this? Huang Fuzhen asked with a look of disgust on his face. You will regret it. Ah. Su Lianer waved her hand, and a group of men in black emerged from all directions and surrounded Lung Ruoxua and the others. Lung Ruoxua narrowed her beautiful eyes, which released an icy cold glare and murderous intent. Finally out. She was really afraid that these people would hide in the corner and not come out. Otherwise, why would she talk so much nonsense with Su Lianer? Lung Ruoxua, don't worry. I will leave your corpse intact for the sake of Brother Lai. Su Lianer said very kindly, as if she had given Lung Ruoxua a great favor. Thank you, but I don't need it. I'll leave it to you. After speaking, Lung Ruoxua took out her sword and directly stabbed at the nearest few men in black. Wherever the sword energy went, fiery red spiritual power followed closely. The momentum was surging, and the cold air was threatening. Wherever the sword reached, countless men in black died or were injured. Seeing Lung Ruoxua attack without hesitation, Huang Fuzhen also drew his sword and stabbed at Su Lianer, but the man beside Su Lianer blocked it, causing him to miss. After Lung Ruoxua and Freak quickly dealt with all the men in black outside the hall, they returned to the inner hall and saw Huang Fuzhen and the others still fighting with the men in black in the hall, while Su Lianer stood by and watched coldly. Freak, go help them. Chapter 179. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 4. After speaking to Freak, Lung Ruoxue walked directly to Su Lianer's side and captured her in her hand. Lung Ruoxue, let go of me, or you will regret it. Su Lianer struggled for a while and threatened when she saw that she couldn't break free. I'll regret it if I let you go. Lung Ruoxue took out a pill and stuffed it into Su Lianer's mouth. Cough cough. What did you feed me? Su Lianer asked in fright. Of course it's poison. Do you think I'll let you die so easily? Ich, how dare you? I am the eldest daughter of the Su family. How dare you? Su Lianer roared in disbelief. Lung Ruoxue was really too daring to treat her like this. I won't let her go. The eldest daughter of the Su family? I'm so scared. Lung Ruoxue directly knocked Su Lianer unconscious. I'm too lazy to listen to her rubbish. With Freak's help, Huang Fuzhen and the others quickly got rid of the men in black in the inner hall. Ruoxue, everyone is dead except for Su Lianer, Huang Fuzhen said to Lung Ruoxue after sending people to check. Lung Ruoxue nodded. With Quill around, no one could escape within a radius of 10,000 meters. Your Majesty, we will take our leave now that everything is settled. Lung Ruoxue motioned for Freak to carry Su Lianer. After speaking to Huang Fuzhen, the two jumped onto Quill's back and left the Southern Dusk Empire. At the general's mansion, Lung Qingtian was speechless as he looked at Su Lianer hanging in the air tied up with a rope. Did they drag Su Lianer back like this all the way? Lung Qingtian thought curiously. Grandpa, it's what you think. Lung Ruoxue saw through her grandfather's thoughts. Alas, there was no choice. Quill was unwilling to carry Su Lianer, and Freak was also unwilling to carry her all the time. Moreover, it was impossible for her to put Su Lianer in the Heaven and Earth bracelet, so she could only hang her and bring her back like this. Schwer, since you've brought her back, what are you going to do with her? Lung Qingtian asked curiously. This woman was too evil, and she had torn apart their Lung family, so he absolutely hated her to the core, and didn't want her to die so easily. Grandpa, you can do whatever you want with her as long as you don't kill her, Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. She knew how her grandfather felt, so she would absolutely support him unconditionally no matter what he wanted to do. Okay, leave this woman to Grandpa, Lung Qingtian said happily. He had many ways to torture people, so he would definitely treat her well. Grandpa, have fun. Freak and I will go back to our rooms to rest. Lung Ruoxue yawned. She hadn't had a good night's sleep for several days, and was very tired. Okay, go and rest, Lung Qingtian said quickly. After returning to her room, Lung Ruoxue went directly into the Heaven and Earth bracelet to rest. The spiritual energy inside was rich, and she could rest while cultivating. When Lung Ruoxue left the Heaven and Earth bracelet after resting enough, 2 days had passed. Schwer, you're so good at sleeping. Lung Qingtian teased his granddaughter when he saw her enter the dining room. He knew that she might stay in the bracelet, so he didn't let anyone disturb her. Grandpa, I'm so tired. Lung Ruoxue sat down with an innocent face. Alas, since Fengde and the others left Phoenix City, the mansion had become deserted. She didn't know what was happening with them. A few days ago, after Lung Ruoxue decided to sever the Su family's arm first, she asked the Feng family's first elder to arrange for people to go to the Northern Frost Empire while she sent Fengde and the others to the Central Universe Empire. After we settle the Su family, we'll let you have a good rest, Lung Qingtian said tenderly. Grandpa, how's Li Yuan? Lung Ruoxue asked with concern as she picked up a piece of dessert. He's fine now. But Schwer, you really gave a lot this time, Lung Qingtian said with some heartache. He didn't expect Schwer to be willing to give so many green spirit pills to old Lin and the old patriarch all at once. During critical times, strength is the most important. Moreover, green spirit pills are nothing to me. Since they were allies, Lung Ruoxue naturally couldn't be too stingy. Otherwise, her allies would only drag her down if they were too weak. That's true. Schwer, do you think Grandpa should also get a few level 9 holy beasts? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. He only had one divine beast. Old Lin was originally very envious, But now that old fellow's holy beast had also advanced, and he actually had 2 divine beasts. Ooh. Grandpa, you and Grandpa Lin aren't children anymore. How can you compare this kind of thing? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. These 2 old men added together were almost 200 years old. When would they grow up? Grandpa just doesn't feel balanced. I don't want to compete with him. Really? Lung Qingtian quickly and cautiously expressed his opinion, for fear that his precious granddaughter would be angry. Lung Ruoxue deliberately paused and said, Grandpa, wait until we meet a level holy beast, and I'll let you contract it. Swear, are you angry? Lung Qingtian couldn't help asking. That's a good thing. The stronger you are, the more at ease I will be. Lung Ruoxue was scared. She couldn't always protect her loved ones, so she wanted to improve their strength whenever she had the chance. This way, she would also be at ease even when she was not by their side. As for her brother, she would personally help her brother find the herbs after settling the Su family. Swear. Grandpa, let's do it when Fengde and the others have news. Lung Ruoxue interrupted. Okay, let's get rid of the Su family as soon as possible. Then we can relax. The Su family was a big problem. The sooner they got rid of them, the better. 5 days later, the Feng family's first elder and Fengde sent a message back at the same time. It was settled. On the second day after the message came, Lung Ruoxue, the old man Lung Qingtian, and others decided to go to the Su family's main residence in the Western Light Empire and eradicate the Su family in one fell swoop. After some discussion, they decided to let Lin Liang stay while the others went to the Western Light Empire. Grandpa Lin, I'll leave this place to you. Lung Ruoxue smiled at Lin Liang. Chapter 180. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? 5. Don't worry. No one will have an opportunity to take advantage with me around. Lin Liang promised as he patted his chest. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She sat on Quill's back after everyone got on. Quill, let's go. Lung Ruoxue ordered and waved at Lin Liang. Yes, master. Quill flapped his huge wings, slowly rose into the sky, and disappeared into the horizon. On the way. Little girl, your eagle is really good. He flies fast and steadily. The old man said with envy. He also wanted such an eye-catching flying spirit beast. Old man, you already have so many spirit beasts. Aren't you satisfied? Cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. This old man is too greedy. How can humans be so easily satisfied? For spirit beasts, naturally the more powerful the better. The old man said nonchalantly. Oh right, old man, tell me about the Su family's old patriarch. Lung Ruoxue asked after suddenly remembering. There was a spiritual supremacy old patriarch in each of the 5 great families, and the imperial families. However, most of them would basically not take care of anything, and would not appear unless there was something that would endanger the foundation of the family. That old thing isn't an old patriarch. His seniority is much lower than mine. The old man pursed his lips disdainfully. That old thing is very devious. He was the one who injured that old fellow of the Southern Dusk Empire. But his injuries were not light either. He's been hiding to recuperate for more than a decade. Little girl, do you know why the Su family was willing to compensate you with so many things before? The old man asked mysteriously. Why? Lung Ruoxue was curious. The Su family shouldn't be afraid of her family, right? The Su family had a spiritual supremacy. Of course, it's because... Forget it. I won't tell you first. You will know in the future. The old man paused to whet Lung Ruoxue's appetite, and then decided not to say more. Damn old man, you tricked me. Lung Ruoxue said fiercely as she glared at the disrespectful old man. Hee hee, little girl, this old man just wants to ease the tense atmosphere. Everyone is too nervous, the old man said with a chuckle, not taking it seriously. Schwerer, the patriarch of the Su family, is indeed very devious. We have to deal with him carefully, Lung Qingtian said seriously. If it hadn't been for Su Lianer's father's obstruction, he would have killed her long ago. Grandpa, we will succeed, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. They had so many divine beasts. If they couldn't defeat the Su family, they should just kill themselves. Master, I won't let your enemies go. The little black fox lying quietly in Lung Ruoxia's arms took the opportunity to express his attitude and tried to curry favor. Good. Lung Ruoxia caressed his soft fur. Master, there's still me, Rise also said hurriedly. You're all good. Schwer, what about me? Freak, who had been acting as a cushion for Schwer, also stuck his head out. You're good too, Lung Ruoxia coaxed as she caressed Freak's head like she was petting it. Your house must be very lively, the old man said to Lung Qingtian with a chuckle as he watched the competition for favor. This isn't the most lively time yet. Lung Qingtian sighed. His granddaughter was so popular. They chatted and laughed along the way. After flying for 4 days, Lung Ruoxia and the others entered the borders of the Western Light Empire. The Su family's main residence was in Salt City, the capital of the Western Light Empire. It was in the afternoon when they entered Salt City. But Lung Ruoxia and the others didn't look for an inn in the city, but set up tents on the outskirts of Salt City. After dinner, everyone went into their tents to rest. After a good rest, it was already nighttime. Little girl, let's go, the old man said impatiently. His target today was that old thing from the Su family. Lung Ruoxia looked at the sky and nodded. Let's go. On Quill's back, they soon arrived at the Su family's main residence. Ling, call the Su family out, Lung Ruoxia ordered lightly. She didn't want to deal with the Su family in secret anymore, because she came specially to cause a scene today. The fate of the Su family was destined. Yes, master. Rise, who was coiled around Lung Ruoxia's wrist, quickly enlarged his body and swung his divine flood dragon tail. The Su family's seemingly tall and sturdy courtyard walls collapsed one after another like paper with a loud bang. After Rise finished all of this, he transformed back and wrapped himself around Lung Ruoxia's wrist again. He didn't forget to rub against her coquettishly, looking like he was trying to please her. Well done. Lung Ruoxia praised generously. Who dares to come to the Su family to cause trouble? A furious roar sounded from the Su family residence, just as Lung Ruoxia finished speaking. Swish, swish, swish. Immediately after, several figures appeared in front of Lung Ruoxia and the others. Subsequently, the other people of the Su family also appeared one after another. Who are you? How dare you come to our Su family to cause trouble? The middle-aged man leading the group questioned angrily. Especially when he saw the sturdy courtyard wall of his house collapsed into a pile like mud, he became even angrier, and his anger surged to his head. We wouldn't have if you aren't the Su family, Lung Ruoxia said indifferently as her beautiful eyes drifted to the middle-aged man who spoke. This middle-aged man looked to be about 50 years old, and his facial features were fairly handsome. He had thick eyebrows and big eyes, and there was a hint of viciousness in his eyes. He was tall and strong, and he was an advanced spiritual sovereign. Lung Ruoxia knew that if she was not mistaken, this person should be the acting patriarch of the Su family, Su Qian. After hearing Lung Ruoxia's words, the reactions of the two parties were completely different. On the old man's side, there were several with a few black lines hanging on their foreheads. And most of them were thinking, this girl is really arrogant. As for the Su family, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. These people actually deliberately came to cause trouble. They really don't want their lives anymore. You damn girl. State your name if you dare. Su Qian roared with a dark face. His vicious eyes released a perverted gaze as he looked up and down Lung Ruoxia lustfully. Chapter 181. Freak revealing his might. 1 Humph. I'll deal with these people later. As for this unbelievably beautiful woman, I'll leave her to warm my bed. I'll let her know the consequences of provoking me. Lung Ruoxia. Lung Ruoxia's clear voice sounded in the dark night. When she told him her name, she successfully saw the change in Su Qian's expression just as she wished. So you are Lung Ruoxia, Su Qian said calmly on the surface, but he was surprised on the inside. He had long heard that Lung Ruoxia was a stunning beauty, and seeing her today, it was indeed true. But what surprised him even more was that Lung Ruoxia actually came knocking on his door. Were my plans with the Shui and Yi families exposed? No, that's impossible. We carried out this matter very secretly. and the Shui and Yi families would definitely not betray me. Then, what is the source of Lung Ruoxia's information? Su Qian kept thinking about it as his gloomy eyes examined the people around Lung Ruoxia. He didn't recognize any of them, and even Lung Qingtian was not among them. He was immediately relieved. Are you Su Qian? Lung Ruoxia addressed him directly by name. How dare you call the patriarch by his name? A dog beside Su Qian barked first before he could say anything. Impudent. How can you be so rude to Miss Lung? Su Qian's eyes widened as he scolded the dog beside him. With Lung Ruoxia's status, it was a pity to be just a bed-warming beauty, so he immediately changed his mind and started treating her with respect. Miss Lung, I am Su Qian. Sorry for being rude. After reprimanding his subordinate, Su Qian immediately turned his head with a big smile on his face, and spoke to Lung Ruoxia amiably, giving her enough face. Since acting patriarch Su is so polite, I am embarrassed to make the first move. Why don't you make the first move? Lung Ruoxia said softly. Her beautiful smile hung on her drop-dead gorgeous face, and the Su family members opposite instantly fell into a daze. I have always been polite. What is the meaning of this, Miss Lung? After a long while, Su Qian returned to his senses and spoke with displeasure. But the amazement in his eyes was obvious, and he didn't hide it at all. Didn't acting patriarch Su want to get rid of me? I've knocking on your door now. Lung Ruoxia explained very kindly. She was such a kind child. She knew that someone wanted to kill her, but she actually took the initiative to come knocking on his door. How is this possible? I have no grudges with Miss Lung. Who is it? How dare they frame me like this? Su Qian roared with a face full of anger. He originally wanted to kill Lung Ruoxia, but after seeing her in person, he couldn't bear to. It would be a pity to kill such a drop-dead beauty. He, Su Qian, had always been protective of the fairer sex. Your ally told me, Lung Ruoxia said evilly without changing expression. They were not united anyway, so she would get these dogs to bite at each other. Hee, Miss Lung really likes to joke, Su Qian said with a smile, seeming very good-tempered. But in his heart he kept thinking, who betrayed me? The Shui family or the Yi family? Alas! I told you the truth, but you don't believe me. Lung Ruoxia said helplessly. Why doesn't Su Qian believe me? Didn't everyone say that he's paranoid? Swear, why are you wasting your breath on him? Just kill him. Freak said furiously. This old pervert actually dares to have ideas about Swear. He really doesn't know life from death. Who are you? Su Qian narrowed his dark eyes and questioned coldly. As the saying went, like repels like. Su Qian naturally didn't have a good impression of such a stunning male. And his tone was even more impossible to be good. I am Schwerer's fiancé, Freak said proudly as he pulled Lung Ruoxia into his arms to show his ownership. Fiancé? I'll duel with this fiancé then. Su Qian's anger was mixed with raging flames of jealousy, while looking at the couple leaning against each other. He directly raised his large hand and attacked Yi Chen. The wind in his palm contained light blue spiritual power, and the cold air was intimidating. Frosty palm. Lung Qingtian couldn't help exclaiming. This should be the Su family's unique frosty palm. This palm technique unleashed a water element spiritual skill, and it was extremely sinister. Once the wind from the palm hit someone, they would immediately be frozen into ice. The bodhisine and the cold would intertwine, and the frost poison would linger in their body. It was somewhat similar to Charm's ice attribute spiritual skill, only more sinister and vicious. There were many ways for spiritualists in this world to unleash spiritual skills. Most of them liked to use weapons such as knives and swords. But spiritualists who release spiritual skills through weapons also needed to master certain saber skills, sword skills, and so on. A very small number of powerhouses like to use their palms to release spiritual skills without relying on any weapons. But this also required mastery of palm techniques to increase the power of spiritual skills. The Su family was a family famous for their palm techniques. After seeing Su Qian's frosty palm, Yi Chen calmly pushed Shuer to a safe spot by the side, and directly faced the powerful palm wind heading straight for him. What spiritual skill is this? The old man watching the battle said in surprise. During the battle, Yi Chen released a ball of black spiritual power, That ball of spiritual power directly entangled with the water attribute spiritual power in the palm wind, and the two intertwined. After a few minutes, Yi Chen's black spiritual power swallowed Su Qian's spiritual power, and then, as if it was full, it returned to its master's side contentedly. I don't know. Lung Qingtian shook his head with a puzzled expression. He had never seen or heard of the spiritual skill that Yi Chen used. But this spiritual skill was not ordinary. So far, Lung Qingtian had yet to see anything that this spiritual skill couldn't swallow. Where's my spiritual power? Su Qian asked in disbelief while staring at Yi Chen as though he was a monster. I ate it. Give me some more. I'm not full yet, Yi Chen said lightly with a mesmerizing smile on his face. He was really infuriating. You are too presumptuous. I will make you regret it. Su Qian roared furiously. He gathered more spiritual power in his palm, and his entire palm turned dark blue. He swept his palm at Yi Chen with an even stronger wind, and the spiritual power in his palm wind was nearly 10 times more than before. Even the surrounding trees and buildings were covered in a thin layer of ice because of this fierce wind. Chapter 182. Freak revealing his might too. Freak, be careful. Lung Ruoxue said worriedly. She could still feel the chill even though she was far away. Some of the Su family's spiritualists with low cultivation levels fainted from the cold. Yes, I will be careful, Freak said happily and did not forget to wink at Schwer with a smug expression on his face. Hee, I knew that Schwer cared about me. So happy. But his smug expression deeply provoked Su Qian. Su Qian furiously struck out several times. A massive amount of light blue spiritual power that had turned dark blue rushed at Yi Chen one after another. First elder. Does the patriarch want to die? A Su family elder watching the battle couldn't help asking softly. How could the water attribute heavenly spiritual skill Earthshaker be used in such a way? Heavenly spiritual skills had extremely high requirements for spiritual power, and heavenly spiritual skills at the level of Earthshaker could only be used as a sure kill move. This method, recklessly used, would likely exhaust your spiritual power even if you won the battle in the end, and you might even be unable to use spiritual power for the rest of your life. The first elder of the Su family had been watching the battle silently, but he was panicking in his heart. Now that the acting patriarch had lost his reason from being provoked, no one would be able to dissuade him at all. Moreover, these people had ill intentions. Today could be said to be the Su family's calamity. Fortunately, he had foresight and had already sent people to invite the patriarch over. He believed that as long as the patriarch came, the crisis of the Su family would be resolved. Therefore, he had long stopped caring about Su Qian and pinned all his hopes on the patriarch. After all, the Su family had no lack of descendants. Yi Chen saw several groups of dark blue spiritual power converge and fly toward him at the same time. He casually released the same number of black spiritual power, each of which automatically sought out their opponents and attacked separately. Yi Chen smiled faintly as he looked at Su Qian, who had lost his reason due to jealousy. His hand released a black blade beam that flew toward Su Qian at lightning speed. Bang! Su Qian collapsed to the ground and died. At the same time, Su Qian's water attribute spiritual power was completely devoured. Patriarch! Patriarch! You killed our patriarch. We'll fight you to the death. Fight! Don't let them go. When everyone in the Su family saw Su Qian's death, they were collectively angry. Their acting patriarch was killed outside their house. It was absolutely a great humiliation. Come at me together. Yi Chen's eyes glittered as he looked at the Su family. Brothers, let's attack together and avenge the patriarch, someone in the crowd shouted, instantly arousing everyone's fighting spirit. Right, let's attack together. Don't let him go. Take revenge for the patriarch. The Su family swarmed forward and surrounded Yi Chen, planning to gang up on him. Little girl. Should we help? The old man asked pretentiously. Every human or beast with this girl was abnormal, so he wasn't worried about that boy at all. He can handle these small fries by himself. Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Oh, then I'll just watch the excitement, the old man said with a smile. looking like he was watching a good show. In fact, his hands were a little itchy. Who knew when that big fish would come out? His younger fish were all going to die. Alas, young people nowadays are really abnormal. In the blink of an eye, the old man found that more than half of the Su family members had died. And he didn't even see how the freakishly handsome man did it. Am I really that old? Is my vision lacking? Thinking of this possibility, the old man was depressed. Bang, bang, bang. In less than 10 minutes, the people from the Su family collapsed onto the ground one after another and died. Why didn't you do anything? Where are the men in black from your Su family? Yi Chen asked arrogantly while pointing at the Su family's only breathing elder. Why you? The first elder of the Su family was a peak spiritual sovereign, but he was still scared stiff by the vicious Yi Chen. He was trembling all over, and even stammered when he spoke. Me? What about me? Hurry up and get the rest of your Su family to come out. Yi Chen said with a fighting spirit. He hadn't fought so refreshingly in a long time. Who dares to be so brazen in my Su family? A loud, domineering, and extremely dignified voice resounded in Yi Chen's ears. That old thing is finally out, the old man said happily, almost dancing with joy. He had been waiting for this old thing. Patriarch. Upon hearing the voice of the Su family's patriarch, the first elder cried with excitement as he yelled into the sky. Su Biao, what happened? Dozens of figures appeared simultaneously. Leading them was a black-clothed old man with white hair. He had an ordinary appearance, and his face was covered with the wrinkles of time. His small eyes were bright and full of life, and they emitted a ruthless and scheming glow. His bright eyes were looking at Yi Chen, Lung Ruoxue, and the others constantly. Who are you? Did you kill the people of my Su family? Su Xing, the patriarch of the Su family, shouted coldly, his eyes releasing intense killing intent. He was even more furious when he saw the large number of people lying on the ground already dead. His lungs almost exploded from anger. Patriarch, the woman leading them is Lung Ruoxue. The Su family's first elder said hurriedly. Lung Ruoxue. Su Xing's murderous gaze turned around, and then he stared at the only woman present as if he was staring at prey. It has nothing to do with her. I killed them. I am Yi Chen, a member of the Yi family. Yi Chen said evilly. From the Yi family? You die. Su Xing roared furiously and directly attacked Yi Chen. Brat, move aside. Leave this old thing to me. The old man roared and impatiently jumped into the middle of the battlefield to fight with Su Xing. Chapter 183. Freak revealing his might 3. Seeing how eager the old man was, Yi Chen didn't fight with him. He withdrew from the battle consciously and stood beside Schwer to watch the fight. The battle between two spiritual supremacies was indeed exquisite and exciting. Colorful spiritual power danced in the night sky, and various spiritual skills were thrown out like flowing water. Grandpa, shall we deal with those men in black? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes locked onto the men in black brought by Su Xing. These people were more than a little stronger than the Su family members just now. There were even a few spiritual supremacies among them. Although they were only at the elementary stage, they had to be eliminated early to prevent any unexpected mishaps. Okay. Lung Qingtian nodded and charged toward the nearest man in black. Lung Ruoxue, Freak, and the others also immediately joined the battle. With the combined efforts of the three people and numerous beasts, Su Xing's men in black and the first elder of the Su family soon went on their way to see the gods. While fighting with the old man, Su Xing unintentionally turned his head and found that all his people were dead. He was so angry that he directly spurted out a mouthful of blood. Old thing, you are too disgusting, the old man said with a face full of disdain as he jumped slightly to avoid the blood Su Xing spat out. Haha, this old thing's ability to bear surprises is too weak. He can't even bear this little stimulation. Fortunately, the old man said this in his head, and Su Xing couldn't hear it. Otherwise, Su Xing would die of anger. Was his ability to bear surprises weak? These people were the fruits of his hard labor of more than a decade. But they were gone just like that. Ha 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 ha. You destroyed my Su family. I, Su Xing, will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Wait for me. I will come back for you. Su Xing saw that the situation was hopeless and was unwilling to continue fighting. After laughing hysterically, a thick cloud of smoke enveloped Su Xing. After the smoke dissipated, Su Xing had disappeared without a trace. Oh no! He escaped. The old man felt that something was amiss and beat his chest and stamped his feet in frustration. Su Xing was a vengeful and cruel person. If he escaped, there would be no end of trouble in the future. What skill is that? Lung Ruoxua was surprised. She didn't expect Su Xing to escape in front of so many people. That's not a skill. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a long-lost teleportation scroll. I really didn't expect Su Xing to have this thing in his hand. Alas, I miscalculated. The old man was really regretful. If he had directly used his sure kill move just now, Su Xing would definitely not have escaped. Quill, can you find Su Xing? Lung Ruoxua asked Quill, who had been flying in the air. Quill could see through objects within a radius of 10,000 meters. No, master, Quill answered after scanning the area. Old man, where does that scroll usually go? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. Not sure. That kind of scroll is divided into directional or random teleportation. No one knows where it will lead except the user, the old man explained. He still regretted it even now. Old man, calm down. He's already run away. Even if you regret it so much, can you change this fact? Lung Ruoxua comforted. Ah, that's true. Even though the old man said this, he wasn't as open-minded as Lung Ruoxua and was still conflicted. Old man, don't worry. Su Xing doesn't know your identity. Even if he wants to take revenge, he will look for Schwer and me. He won't look for you. Yi Chen also spoke to console him. Before Schwer came, she had given this old man and her grandfather an appearance-changing pill. So as long as this old man didn't say anything, no one would know at all that he had a part in the Su family's affairs. You stinky brat. Am I the kind of person who's afraid of death? I'm just worried that we're in the open, and the enemy is in the dark. I'm afraid that he will use shady tricks on us. The old man explained angrily. Forget it. He's escaped. The most important thing now is to find him as soon as possible. Otherwise, none of us will be able to sleep well, Lung Qingtian said. Schwer and the others might not understand Su Xing, but he knew very well that this fellow was indeed big trouble. Master, everything is ready. At this moment, Rise and Dazzle, who had entered the Su family's main residence to clean up the battlefield and loot, ran back to Lung Ruoxua's side and spoke with a face as though they were presenting treasures. Several storage rings were hanging on each of the two little beasts' mouths and paws. Good. Lung Ruoxua touched the two beasts and put away all the rings unceremoniously. Little girl, these two beasts of yours are pretty good at this kind of business, the old man said with a look of envy. How can my beasts be so stupid? They haven't returned after so long. Of course. Take a look at whose beasts they are, Lung Ruoxua said with a face full of pride. As her beasts, they had to be flexible, play dumb when they should play dumb, be cute when they should be cute, be ruthless when they should be ruthless, and be black-hearted when they should be black-hearted. Of course, they absolutely couldn't be soft-hearted when they should be robbing. Alas, there was nothing she could do. She had many family members and beasts. Her whole family needed her support. Lung Qingtian coughed lightly and said very seriously, Schwer, let's keep a low profile. Yes, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxua nodded vigorously. About an hour later, before they arrived at the Su family residence, the old man had sent his beasts to rob the Su family's shops. They finally completed the mission and returned triumphantly. The old man took the storage rings his beasts handed over and sent his divine sense into them. After he took a look, his satisfied face bloomed into a smile. Little girl, the matter here is resolved. Let's return to Phoenix City early, the old man said impatiently. This money was child's play for the upcoming expansion of the Eastern Lagoon Empire. Okay, let's go back. Lung Ruoxua also wanted to go back early, but before she left, she added fuel to the fire in the Su family's main residence. After that, the group returned to Phoenix City in a grandiose manner. Immediately after, The news of 3 imperial families and 3 great families being attacked and robbed by spirit beasts spread like wildfire across the entire Lingfeng continent. Right after that, there was a massive reshuffling on the Lingfeng continent. The Western Light Empire, the Northern Frost Empire, and the Central Universe Empire were leaderless, and there was serious internal strife. The allied forces of the Eastern Lagoon Empire and the Southern Dusk Empire, which had been waiting for the right time, combined forces to attack, and they divided the territories of the other 3 countries. Chapter 184. Freak revealing his might. For after the Su, Shui, and Yi families disappeared overnight, the Hua family took advantage of the situation and occupied all the shops and businesses of the 3 families. However, the Feng family, which was also a top family, didn't do anything, making people puzzled. The main residence of the Feng family. First elder, someone came to ask me why we didn't take the opportunity to devour the shops of the 3 great families like the Hua family did. An elder said helplessly in the meeting room. During this period of time, people asked him this question every day. How did you reply? The first elder of the Feng family said indifferently with his eyes half closed. I said our Feng family is short on manpower, and there are too many things to take care of in our businesses. The elder replied seriously. Good. When anyone asks about this in the future, all of you will say so. The first elder finalized a unified statement. Humph. Those 3 great families are basically empty shells. What's the use of them? Moreover, Su Xing's whereabouts are still unknown. At this time, whoever takes the lead will become Su Xing's first target for revenge. In the garden of General Leng's mansion. Shuer, what are you thinking about? Freak asked curiously. Shuer had been preoccupied with her thoughts for the past few days. I'm thinking about Su Xing, Leng Ruoxue said lightly as she leaned against him. Why are you thinking about that old thing? Don't think about him. You can only think about me. Freak said with a displeased face. An old bastard actually dares to let Shuer think about him. He's really courting death. What nonsense are you spouting? I'm thinking about where Su Xing is hiding. The Lingfeng continent is so big that it's really not easy to find someone. Thinking of this, Leng Ruoxue felt a little depressed. She had already released the news that whoever found Su Xing's traces would be heavily rewarded, but there had been no news of him until now. Moreover, for some reason, her heart had been feeling a little unsettled recently, as if something was about to happen. She didn't like this feeling, so it was better to find Su Xing as soon as possible. This way, everyone could be at ease. Shuer, this kind of thing can't be rushed. Didn't we already entrust Hell and the mercenary union to find his whereabouts? Freak comforted. He didn't want Shuer to worry over such a trivial matter. I wonder if Hell can find him, Leng Ruoxue said with uncertainty. Hell was a mysterious intelligence organization that had appeared out of thin air on the Lingfeng continent more than a decade ago. It specialized in selling all sorts of intelligence and claimed that there are things only you can't think of. There's nothing we don't know. But it had been so many days, and there was no news from Hell at all. She didn't know if this counted as ruining its own reputation. If even Hell can't find him, then others won't be able to either, Freak said very firmly. Then let's wait. I hope they won't disappoint me. Shuer, the patriarch and the first elder Hua family are here. While Leng Ruoxue was chatting with Freak, Leng Ruhan walked in from outside the garden to their side. What are they doing here? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. They didn't have much of a relationship. I don't know. They refused to tell me, Leng Ruhan said helplessly. He understood Shuer's temper very well. He knew that the Hua family had already offended his precious sister, so Shuer didn't want to meet them at all. But their grandfather wanted him to come, so he had to come. Freak, let's go to the palace to see big sister Mo. Leng Ruoxue turned to Freak and suggested. She was not in the mood to see the Hua family now. She had even turned away Hua Qing, let alone others. Okay. Freak nodded in agreement. Quill, take us to the palace. Leng Ruoxue let Quill out. Then she and Freak jumped onto Quill's back. Yes, master, Quill replied. He flapped his wings and soared into the sky. With a whoosh, he instantly transformed into a small black dot. Looking at his willful baby sister, Lung Ruhan shook his head helplessly and left the garden to report to his grandfather. In a side palace of the Eastern Lagoon Empire's Imperial Palace. Little girl, why do you have time to see this old man today? The old man, who was tending to the flowers and plants with his head lowered, asked curiously. The Hua family came to my house, so I had to hide, Lung Ruoxue said bluntly while sitting on a stone bench by the garden and leaning against Freak. She originally wanted to go to Big Sister Mo's place, but Li Yuan was there. She didn't want to be a third wheel, so she had to come to the old man's place. So my place has become your refuge. The old man glared at her with slight displeasure. This girl is really infuriating. She's finally come to see me, but she didn't come specially to coax me. The old man complained in his head. Not every place can become my refuge, Lung Ruoxue said lightly while looking at the old man who liked to throw tantrums. Well, that's true, the old man agreed. By the way, little girl, is there any news about that old thing Su Xing? The old man continued asking. But he didn't stop what he was doing as he carefully and cautiously moved his beloved flowers and plants to another place to replant them. Not yet. Ask Li Yuan and the others to keep a low profile so as not to attract trouble, Lung Ruoxue reminded. With the Hua family making such a big fuss, they would definitely not be able to escape when Su Xing came for revenge. After all, one was in the open, while the other was in the dark. It would be too easy for Su Xing to take revenge. Don't worry. I told them long ago. The old man was still very assured about Li Yuan, a more sensible descendant. This was also the main reason why he didn't stop Lung Ruoxue and the others from usurping the throne. Old man, we'll be going first. Be careful. Lung Ruoxue looked at the sky and felt that it was about time, so she stood up and prepared to leave. Go. The old man waved at the two people who had already sat on the Black Eagle. Then he lowered his head and continued with his work. After a short while, Lung Ruoxue and Freak returned to the general's mansion. When she got down from Quill's back, she happened to meet the steward. Steward, has the Hua family left? Lung Ruoxue asked. They left a long time ago. Miss, why did you only return now? Old master was so worried. The steward kept nagging. Chapter 185. Freak revealing his might 5. Got it. Let's go see Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue interrupted the steward's chatter. 2 drops of cold sweat hung on her forehead. This old man is really able to talk more and more. Lung Ruoxue and Freak went to Lung Qingshan's study and called out from outside the door, Grandpa. Shuer, come in. Lung Qingtian said from the study. Shuer, why did you come back so late? Lung Qingtian asked worriedly. Now was a critical period, and Su Xing had not been found yet. He didn't want his precious granddaughter to be in danger. I had a chat with the old man after I went to the palace, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She was like an obedient child in front of Lung Qingtian, and couldn't ignore her grandfather's concern. After all, only her relatives in the world would know her strength and still worry about her safety, so her heart was full of gratitude. Shuer, is that old man okay? Lung Qingtian asked with concern. They hadn't seen each other since they returned to Phoenix City. Pretty good. I'm just a little worried about Su Xing, Lung Ruoxue said honestly. She had already suggested that the old man move his descendants to a safe place. He would probably start making arrangements in 2 days. This way, even if Su Xing appeared, he wouldn't have to worry about the safety of his descendants. Shuer, have the people in the general's mansion been moved away? Lung Qingtian asked. The servants in the general's mansion had followed him for many years. He would feel heartbroken if they were injured because of his negligence. Okay. I'll send someone to notify the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, as well as Grandpa Lin. Lung Ruoxue frowned slightly as she thought about it. Send them all away in one shot. It would save them time from being distracted. No need. I'll go notify old Lin. Lung Qingtian stood up from his chair. This matter shouldn't be delayed. Then I'll go to the Feng family and the Southern Dusk Empire, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. After discussing it, Lung Ruoxue and Lung Qingtian split up. In a secret room in the Feng family's main residence. First Elder, you were looking for me? Feng Miao, dressed in white, walked into the secret room and looked at the first elder in puzzlement. What happened? Take this. Leave the Feng family with those 100 children in a few days. The first elder's expression was a little grim as he directly handed Feng Miao a storage ring. Why? What do you mean, first elder? Feng Miao's handsome face showed a confused expression. Were they expelled from the Feng family? We haven't found Su Xing yet. Go out and hide first, the first elder explained. These children were the Feng family's future hope, and nothing could happen to them. First elder, isn't Su Xing the only one left in the Su family? There are so many of us. Before Feng Miao could finish, the first elder interrupted him. I will definitely not let them off. Thinking of this, Su Xing carefully took out a black pearl from his storage ring. The pearl was about the size of a thumb, dull, and very inconspicuous. But if anyone dared to underestimate the ability of this pearl, they would definitely regret it. Chapter 186. Freak revealing his might. 6. Su Xing took out the pearl and held it in his palm. He looked at it with slight infatuation, as if he was looking at a lover, for a while before returning it to his ring. This pearl was passed down from the ancestors of the Su family, and was a very magical item. It was even the reason why the Su family could become one of the 5 great families. Unfortunately, this pearl had a limited number of uses, and could only be used 5 times. After so many generations, the Su family had already used it 4 times. Now there was only one last chance, so he had been hesitating. Su Xing stood up and paced around the cave while thinking about the pros and cons and the future of the Su family. However, he was the only one left in the Su family. Where was there any future? His greatest wish now was revenge. With this in mind, Su Xing steeled himself and took out the black pearl again. He bit his finger and dripped a drop of blood on it. After the pearl absorbed the blood, it instantly released a dazzling light that illuminated the entire cave. After the light faded, the image of a middle-aged man appeared in front of Su Xing. This man was in his 40s with good features, a pair of sharp eyes, and a domineering air of superiority. Su Xing knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "The 20th patriarch of the Su family, Su Xing, greets old patriarch." "Get up. Su Xing, why did you call me?" The middle-aged man in the image said coldly with an expressionless face. "Old patriarch, our Su family is gone. Please take revenge for our family." Su Xing sobbed with overflowing hatred. "What do you mean?" The man called the old patriarch asked sternly. "The Su family of the Lingfeng continent was destroyed." Su Xing explained the situation with a pained expression. "Who is it? Who is so bold to provoke our Su family?" The Su family's old patriarch roared with a dark face. "It's Lung Ruoxue Yichun, and an unknown old man," Su Xing quickly said. "Did you just say that the people who destroyed our Su family are called Lung Ruoxue and Yichun?" The old patriarch asked to confirm. "Yes, they are the masterminds," Su Xing said hatefully. "Is Lung Ruoxue a member of the Lung family?" The old patriarch continued asking. "Yes. Lung Ruoxue is from the Lung family, and Yichun is from the Yi family," Su Xing answered honestly. He would never dare to lie to his ancestor even though he was eager to seek revenge. The Lung family. This isn't easy to deal with, the old patriarch muttered to himself. It would be fine if it wasn't the Lung family, but since she was from the Lung family Old patriarch, you have to uphold justice for us. Su Xing knelt on the ground and kowtowed nonstop. Blood flowed down his forehead, making his already disheveled appearance even more horrifying. "Stop kowtowing. Get up. I'm thinking of a way." The old patriarch said impatiently. "Old patriarch." Su Xing stopped kowtowing but didn't dare to stand up. In front of the old patriarch he was just an insignificant descendant. If the old patriarch was worried about the Lung family, and didn't dare to uphold justice for him, then he had no other choice. So at this moment he was extremely nervous. If Lung Ruoxue weren't from the Lung family. The old patriarch wanted to say something but stopped himself. His face was full of difficulties. "How did you offend her?" The old patriarch questioned unhappily. "We did it all for the prosperity of the family," Lung Ruoxua has spots for the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. In order to obtain the spots. But we didn't expect the Yi family to betray us and leak the news. And then Lung Ruoxua destroyed us. Su Xing's face was full of pain. The Yi family was originally their ally, but they betrayed them in the end. Therefore he hated the Yi family more than Lung Ruoxua. At this moment, he didn't know that the Yi family had already disappeared from this world. I see, the old patriarch said after a moment of silence. Alas, the mystic realm. You really make people love and hate you. Every time you appear, you bring countless hopes to people. But at the same time, you bring disaster to people. Old patriarch, you have to take revenge for us. Su Xing begged. He had no choice but to rely on the old patriarch now. Revenge? Do you think it's so easy to take revenge? Then why do I have to say so much rubbish to you? The old patriarch shouted with a stern face. The Su family of the Lingfeng continent was very important to him. Now that it was gone, he was also very distressed. But if he wanted to take revenge, he had to pay an immense price, in addition to being wary of the Lung family. Old patriarch, actually, according to my guess, the Lung family probably lost contact with the upper realm a long time ago. Su Xing said after some thought. Are you sure? The old patriarch asked anxiously. If so, then there was nothing to fear. It's not just the Lung family. The other 4 great families and the imperial family should also be in the same situation. Su Xing took the opportunity to say. As long as the old patriarch was willing to send people down, the Su family would definitely be able to take revenge. Therefore he had to convince the old patriarch. Old patriarch, this is a good opportunity. As long as you send people down, our Su family can unite the Lingfeng continent. Su Xing continued to coax. Do you think we can just casually send people down? There's a massive price to pay. The old patriarch reprimanded with a displeased face, but he was slightly tempted in his heart. If the matter was really as his descendant said, then it would really be a good opportunity. Old patriarch, this is absolutely worth it. I promise you won't regret it. Su Xingyu persuaded anxiously. Let me discuss it with the elders. The old patriarch cut off the connection and disappeared. Old patriarch. Su Xing fell to the ground dispiritedly, his hands clenched into fists, feeling resentful and bitter, not even knowing that his fingernails were digging into his flesh. At this time, far away in the general's mansion in the Eastern Lagoon Empire, Lung Ruoxua had become everyone's personal chef. Shuer, what are we having for dinner tonight? Lung Qingtian looked curious as he watched Lung Ruoxua preparing dinner in the kitchen. They had sent the servants in the family away, and now they had to take care of their meals themselves, so Shuer naturally became their dedicated chef. Chapter 187. Come out to your death quickly, one. Go out and wait. What can I do with so many people here? Lung Ruoxua looked at the expectant faces in front of her, and couldn't help but feel a headache. These gluttons only knew how to eat every day. Okay, let's go. Little girl, take your time. We're not in a hurry. The old man quickly coaxed her when he saw that she was angry. Ever since he sent Li Yuan and the others away, he almost regarded the general's mansion as his home. Except for not sleeping here at night, he basically spent the rest of his time here. Old Lung, let's go. Don't affect Ruoxia's mood when she's cooking, Lin Liang said understandingly. Tisich. Lung Qingtian and the old man looked at Lin Liang with contempt. He was the one who led the way just now. And now he was pretending to be a good person? Shuer, let me help you. Freak, who had been standing quietly by the side, couldn't help feeling a little heartbroken seeing everyone leave. Boo. My poor Shuer has actually become the cook of these people. No need. Stay there obediently, Lung Ruoxua said while cutting vegetables. In fact, if she could make those old men temporarily forget about that big trouble Su Xing by using food, it would be worth it even if she had to work a little harder. Okay. Freak was very obedient and stayed by the side like an obedient child. He didn't dare to disturb Shuer, and just kept staring at her with his bright and shiny eyes very attentively. Freak, get them in to carry out the dishes. Lung Ruoxua ordered after half an hour. There's no need. We're here. The few old men poked their heads in from the kitchen window with a smile. The old men each carried the 2 dishes out of the kitchen tacitly without Lung Ruoxia's instructions. Lung Ruoxia and Freak followed them to the dining room. Hurry up and eat, Lung Qingtian said after everyone was seated. Lung Qingtian was about to pick up a piece of fish with his chopsticks when 2 people beat him to it. Just as he was going to threaten them, he found that the whole fish was gone. You, Lung Qingtian glared at the old man and Lin Liang, who were gnawing on half the fish each. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. These 2 old fellows are too fast. I was just a little slower, and the whole fish disappeared. This fish is really delicious. After eating the fish, the old man licked his fingers reluctantly and sighed. Of course it's delicious. Lung Qingtian rolled his eyes at the old man in displeasure. The fish was from the Heaven and Earth bracelet, and there was none in this world. It would be strange if it wasn't delicious. Grandpa, if you don't eat quickly, the other dishes will be gone, Lung Ruoxia reminded helplessly. Why are they so exaggerated? Every meal is like a world war. Hearing this, Lung Qingtian stopped talking and focused on his favorite dishes. After a satisfying dinner, everyone sat in the garden, enjoying tea and chatting under the moonlight. These days are really good, the old man said with emotion. Of course, the premise was that there was no such big trouble as Su Xing. Old man, shouldn't you be returning to the palace? Lung Ruoxia reminded. It was getting late, but the old man was in no hurry to leave today. How strange. Little girl, are you chasing this old man away? Ooh, someone actually despises me. I'm really too pitiful, the old man said with a sad face. He even pretended to raise his arm and wipe his tears with his sleeve. We are always being driven away by Junior Aunt. You will get used to it, Guiyong said sympathetically, as if he had found a comrade in arms. You too are quite pitiful, the old man said sympathetically, as if he had found a bosom buddy. Do you regret not having met sooner? Lung Ruoxia asked in bewilderment. These 2 are really. No, Guiyong and the old man quickly denied and looked at Lung Ruoxia cautiously. Well, that's a pity. I thought you 2 would be a good match, Lung Ruoxia said with a look of pity and disappointment. Match for what? We're not a match for anything. The 2 immediately jumped away from each other, as if the other was a virus. Match as friends. What else do you think it is? The smile on Lung Ruoxia's beautiful face was so dazzling and touching. Moreover, her face was full of innocence, but her words were so evil that they let people's imaginations run wild. Little girl, you tricked us, the old man complained aggrievedly, as if Lung Ruoxia had done something unforgivable. Junior Aunt, you are too evil. How can you bully your disciple nephew? Guiyong also complained. One word was written in his shrewd black eyes. Wronged. Haha, old man. How can you be a match for Ruoxia? Lin Liang gloated, beaming from ear to ear. Brat Lin, how dare you laugh at this old man? Do you want to die? The old man unceremoniously vented his anger on Lin Liang. He couldn't bear to hit or scold that girl, but Lin Liang? Of course he wouldn't be polite. You only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong, Lin Liang said disdainfully. But to be honest, if he really fought with this old man, he might not be able to beat him. So what? Bite me, the old man roared provocatively. Continue bickering. I'm going to bed, Lung Ruoxia said softly to the 2 of them. Then she stood up and left the garden. Freak naturally followed Schwer wherever she went. All right, stop acting. Schwer is going back to her room. Lung Qingtian looked at the 2 who were still at daggers drawn. We weren't acting, the 2 of them said in unison. Then they turned their heads at the same time and ignored each other. Come on, Schwer isn't here. Who are you acting for? Lung Qingtian exposed them, but he was also quite touched. Chapter 188. Come out to your death quickly, too. These 2 old men ignored their status and positions to fight like children every day because they were afraid that Schwer would worry about them. In fact, how could they not be worried about Schwer when she was worried about them? Schwer and Yi Chen were the 2 people Su Xing hated the most after all. If Su Xing appeared, he would definitely first look for Schwer and Yi Chen. This was also one of the main reasons why these two old fellows stubbornly stayed in the general's mansion. The other reason was naturally because of the dishes Schwer cooked. Alas! Which corner do you think Su Xing is hiding in? Why isn't there any news after searching for so long? Lin Liang said worriedly. He wouldn't be able to sleep well if he didn't get rid of Su Xing, alas. Probably hiding in a rat hole? That old thing is cunning. How can he be so easy to find? The old man said disdainfully. He hated Su Xing to the core, but he hated himself even more for letting that old thing escape. Old Lung, don't let Ruoxue and Yi Chen out of our sight. Su Xing hates them to death now. Lin Liang reminded. After sending some students away, he had given the other students and teachers of the academy a long holiday. Otherwise, he really couldn't leave and stay in the general's mansion all day. Yes, they are Su Xing's main targets now, the old man echoed. Su Xing definitely hated him, but Su Xing didn't know his identity, so he wouldn't find him for the time being. Don't you know that girl's personality? If she wasn't afraid that we would worry, why would she be so obedient and stay at home all day? Lung Qingtian said helplessly. He couldn't do anything about his precious granddaughter. In fact, Lung Qingtian was only half right about why Lung Ruoxue was willing to stay at home. The other half was to watch over them. She didn't want these old men to put themselves in danger just to get rid of Su Xing as soon as possible. Listening Snow Pavilion. Schwer, what do you plan to do? Freak asked curiously while looking at Schwer, who hadn't spoken since returning to her room. Freak, do you think we should continue waiting like this? What if Su Xing never appears? Lung Ruoxue looked up at Freak. She felt that this was too passive. In fact, if she wasn't worried about her grandfather and the rest, she would have used herself as bait to lure Su Xing out. What else can we do? Freak's black diamond-like eyes stared at Lung Ruoxue. Do you think we will lure him out if we go out together? Lung Ruoxue probed. She didn't dare to say that she would go alone, or he would definitely be angry. Schwer, Grandpa and the others won't agree with you doing this. Aren't you the same? Freak said seriously. To him, it was the same no matter when Su Xing appeared. It was not like they were unprepared. Instead, he was afraid that Su Xing wouldn't dare to come. But there has been no news from Hell and the Mercenary Union, Lung Ruoxue said gloomily. She was running out of patience after waiting for so many days. Schwer Lingfeng continent is so big, it's not easy to find someone who wants to hide. Don't worry. I don't believe he can really hide forever. I think you must be bored staying home all day. Why don't we go out for a walk tomorrow? Freak suggested. Okay, then let's rest early today. Lung Ruoxue also felt that she should go out for a walk. She was going to be bored to death at this rate. Freak nodded. He waited for Schwer to fall asleep before quietly leaving her room. The next day, Lung Ruoxue and Freak finally managed to convince Lung Qingtian and the others and left the general's mansion. People were coming and going on the bustling streets as Lung Ruoxue and Freak walked side by side. At what day is it today? There are so many people. Freak said curiously. I don't know. Lung Ruoxue was also a little surprised. Today isn't some festival in this world, right? Freak went up to an old man and asked very politely, Excuse me, sir. Why are there so many people on the streets today? The old man looked at the beautiful immortal-like couple in front of him, and was stunned for a while before he recovered and said, Today is the grandest temple fair in the Eastern Lagoon Empire. It's only once a year, so of course there are many people. Young master and miss, you two are really compatible. Go to the temple and ask for a lot. Today's lot is very efficacious. The old man couldn't stay quiet after he started talking and kept rambling on. Okay, thank you, sir. After thanking him, Freak handed the old man an amethyst coin and immediately left with Schwer. Schwer, let's go ask for a sign. Freak said with great interest and looked at Lung Ruoxue expectantly. That's all a lie. How can you believe it? Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Let's go, she continued after glancing at him. Seeing Freak's puppy-like expression of anticipation, how could she bear to refuse? She loved small animals the most. After they arrived at the temple, they drew a lot, and then went to the reception desk. May I know what the two of you are asking for? Someone who looked like a charlatan asked. Marriage affinity, Freak said without hesitation. Oh yes, this is a very good lot. Congratulations on your marriage destined by the heavens. Schwer, did you hear that? Ha! I'm so happy. Freak couldn't help shouting. I knew that Schwer could only be mine, and no one could snatch her away. A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxia's forehead as she rolled her eyes at him. Alas! As a spiritualist, he actually believes these things like an ordinary person. Let's go take a look over there. Lung Ruoxia hurriedly said when she saw that more and more people were watching. Freak nodded and squeezed out of the crowd with Schwer. In a private room in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Is she Lung Ruoxia? A young man asked the old man by his side while standing by the window and pointing at a stunning beauty not far away. Chapter 189. Come Out to Die Quickly 3. The man was about 20 years old. He was handsome, had bright and enchanting black eyes, and a good temperament. He was dressed in a black garment with golden borders, and golden dragons were embroidered on both sleeves with golden threads, making him look even more noble and extraordinary. It was as if a god had descended, and people could only look up at him. Grandfather, she is Lung Ruoxia, the enemy of our Su family. The old man Su Xing, who had been in hiding, quickly replied respectfully. Even though Su Xing had changed his appearance, he still looked like an old man, but even his relatives might not recognize him. I want this Lung Ruoxia. That man can be killed. The young man said expressionlessly. A trace of viciousness flashed across his handsome face, destroying his noble nature. But grandfather, Lung Ruoxia is the enemy of our Su family, Su Xing said unwillingly. If Lung Ruoxia didn't die and even became, what revenge would he have? He would just be depressed to death. The young man narrowed his eyes and said coldly with slight displeasure. How dare you question my words? Lung Ruoxia is your enemy, not my young master's enemy. A middle-aged man walked over. Yes, your grandchild knows. Su Xing suppressed his rage and swallowed his anger. Now he still had to use these people to take revenge for him. Moreover, he had to count on them to take care of him in the future. So even if he was angry in his heart, he absolutely didn't dare to show it. But it was precisely because he had suffered a lot in front of these so-called ancestors that he hated Lung Ruoxia. And Yichin even more. I heard that this restaurant originally belonged to the Su family? The middle-aged man asked. Yes, this restaurant was originally called the Spring Wind House and a property of our Su family. But now, it has been taken over by the Hua family, Su Xing said through gritted teeth. The Hua family, I won't let them off either. No matter what they took from our Su family, I will make them spit it out intact. You're really not an ordinary piece of trash. The middle-aged man glanced at Su Xing disdainfully and reprimanded him. Yes, Su Xing is useless. But we were also betrayed by the Yi family, that's why. Su Xing looked at the middle-aged man aggrievedly and stopped talking. Are you sure that the Yi family betrayed you? Didn't the Yi family get destroyed just like the Su family? The middle-aged man said with a look of disbelief. Yichin said it himself. It can't be fake. I'm guessing that the Yi family was killed by Lung Ruoxia and the others, Su Xing said, thinking he was smart. The middle-aged man nodded. It was possible. However, Lung Ruoxia was too cruel. Young master, when should we go back? The middle-aged man asked respectfully. What's the hurry? We've only been here for 2 days, the young man said in objection. He didn't want to go back so soon. Young master, when we came, the patriarch ordered us to return as soon as possible. The middle-aged man continued, unwilling to give up. Grandfather, why don't you go back first? We will bring Lung Ruoxia over for you, Su Xing said with a fawning face. This young master would be his greatest backer in the future. He couldn't afford to lose him. You have to be gentle with such a beauty. Don't hurt her, and don't let her lose a strand of hair, the young man said after some thought. Grandfather, don't worry. We will take good care of her, Su Xing quickly promised. But in his heart, he couldn't wait for this grandfather to scram home early. With him around, he really had to serve him like a grandson. Since he would be his backer in the future, then he would wait to serve him well in the future. At least now he didn't want to be a grandson all day. Let's go back. The young man turned to the middle-aged man. Yes, young master. After sending them out of the inn, Su Xing immediately returned to the private room. Honorable seniors, thank you for your help. Su Xing bowed gratefully. These people were the most important to him now. We're all family. There's no need to be so polite, one of them said. Yes, seniors. May I ask when you intend to take action? Su Xing couldn't help asking. What's the rush? They can't run away. Everyone will be dead except for the woman young master wants. Another said. No rush, no rush. Let's wait for you to have enough rest before we make a move. Su Xing hurriedly echoed to please them. He didn't dare to make these masters unhappy. Haha, Su Xing, you are quite sensible. A man in his 30s stood up and patted Su Xing's shoulder. Seniors, I have already arranged your activities for tonight. I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Su Xing said with the demeanor of a lackey, no longer having the demeanor of a former patriarch. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and bring us there. Someone shouted impatiently. Seniors, let's go. Su Xing bowed, and was the last to leave after everyone left. Lung Ruoxue and Freak walked around the streets for half a day, and then returned to the general's mansion at noon. Swear, we would have starved to death if you didn't come back. Lung Qingtian quickly complained when he saw his granddaughter return to the garden. Grandpa, you guys seem to be having a good time playing chess. You don't look like you're going to starve to death. Lung Ruoxue seemed very helpless against her grandfather's coquettish behavior. If you didn't return, there'd be no one to cook for us. If we don't play chess, what can we old men do? The old man stared at Lung Ruoxue. They were people who led pampered lives. Making them cook was harder than killing them. I'm going to cook now, Lung Ruoxue said with self-awareness. After feeding the old men, a day quickly passed. On an afternoon a few days later, Lung Ruoxue and the others were discussing something in Lung Qingshan's study, when an arrogant roar sounded from outside. Chapter 190. Come out to die quickly for. People of the Lung family come out to die quickly. Coming. The old man was the first to speak. Everyone exchanged glances and rushed out of the study together. Lung Ruoxue and the others came to the general's mansion's courtyard, but the scene they saw surprised them. Dozens of figures were floating in the sky above the general's mansion. Su Xing was in the middle of everyone, and looking down at them arrogantly as if they were dead, while those dozens of people were deliberately releasing their might. All of them were expressionless, and their eyes showed disdain as if they were looking at ants. This is bad. These people are actually spiritual deities. The old man's expression changed as he sent a voice transmission to everyone. Damn it. This Su Xing is really ruthless. He actually found so many spiritual deities to help. Even he felt a little strained under the pressure of these dozens of spiritual deities. Then what should we do now? Lin Liang's face was a little grim. The matter had clearly exceeded the scope of their control. Swear. Lung Qingtian glanced at Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She understood what her grandfather meant. He wanted her to take them all into the heaven and earth bracelet to prevent unnecessary losses. With this in mind, she secretly contacted Qingju. We can't fight them head-on. The only way now is to run. It's better than all of us dying here, the old man said after some thought. It was not wise to use eggs to hit rocks. They were smart people and wouldn't do such a foolish thing. Then run. You guys run first. Oh, cover the rear. Lin Liang steeled himself. He was ready to die. What are you trying to show off for? You guys go first. Oh, cover your retreat. The old man's words carried the most weight, and he rolled his eyes at Lin Liang, seemingly saying, Are you stronger than me? Who can escape with so many spiritual deities? Lung Qingtian asked in return. The old man and Lin Liang were instantly speechless. Yes, who could escape with so many spiritual deities around? But should they just sit and wait for death like this? That wasn't their style. Since we can't run away, then we'll fight it out with them. Little girl, find an opportunity to run by yourself, the old man said resolutely after thinking about it. Yes, Ruoxue and Yichen, You two run when you have the chance. Don't worry about us, Lin Liang echoed. Shut up, you two. Well, listen to Shuer, Lung Qingtian said domineeringly. Lung Ruoxue was a little touched as she listened to the voice transmissions of the three old men. It seemed that she had good insight. At least, other than her grandfather, Grandpa Lin and the old man were not afraid of death. Moreover, they were still willing to risk their lives to help the others retreat first in such a dangerous situation. You had to know that the more dangerous it was, the more it tested a person's heart. Qingju, Lung Ruoxue called out in her head. Big sister, I'm ready, Qingju replied from the heaven and earth bracelet. Lung Ruoxue nodded slightly. Then with a thought, she immediately brought everyone present into the heaven and earth bracelet. Huh. Where is this place? The old man and Lin Liang looked at the suddenly changed environment. Obviously, they couldn't adapt for a while. But they clearly felt that the spiritual pressure released by the spiritual deities had all disappeared. And the spiritual energy here was so dense. This is Shuer's space. We are safe now, Lung Qingtian explained. Fortunately, Shuer had this heaven-defying space. Otherwise, they would all be dead meat today. Ruoxue's space? The little girl's space? Lin Liang and the old man spoke in unison, their faces full of surprise and disbelief. In contrast, Yichen was much calmer, and he was currently plucking fruit from a tree to eat. Master left it for me, Lung Ruoxue explained calmly as she picked a fruit from a tree. Master? Ruoxue, I've never heard that you have a master, Lin Liang said curiously. He's dead, Lung Ruoxue said sadly. She would definitely avenge her master if she had the chance. I'm sorry. I didn't know, Lin Liang said, a little embarrassed. Damn it. Why am I so curious? It's okay, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Old man, where did you get that fruit? Lin Liang turned his head and saw the old man holding an unknown fruit the size of 2 adult fists. He was gnawing on it, and the juice of the fruit was flowing down the corner of his mouth. From a tree, of course. The old man pointed at the fruit trees not far away, as if it was obvious. The fruit was really delicious, and there was so much spiritual energy inside that it was scary. Old man, why don't you? Lin Liang was about to say, why don't you know any manners, when he realized that everyone except him was gnawing on a fruit. Hey brat Lin, relax. We just escaped from death. Don't be so nervous. Since this is the little girl's territory, why should we be polite? The old man didn't treat himself as an outsider at all. Moreover, he adapted quickly and was obviously not too curious. Upon hearing this, Lin Liang was speechless. It had even become his fault? Master, you don't have to be so polite. Lung Ruhan emerged from the purple bamboo house and chuckled. Ruhan, I didn't know you were here. I thought. Lin Liang looked at his beloved disciple with a face full of joy. I've been staying here since you sent everyone away, Lung Ruhan explained. There were Qingju and so many cute beasts here, so he didn't feel lonely at all. Ruhan, I thought I would never have the chance to see you again, Lin Liang said excitedly while holding Lung Ruhan's hand. Lung Ruhan and his master were catching up while the others were eating fruits and observing the situation outside. At this time, the general's mansion was in a mess. Su Xing and the others, who had thought victory was in their hands, saw Lung Ruoxue and the others suddenly disappear in the blink of an eye, and they were utterly depressed. Chapter 191. Luring the enemy into an urn. 1. Where did they go? Su Xing muttered to himself furiously. He had come excitedly with his helpers, but not only did he not kill a single person, but Lung Ruoxue and the others had disappeared instead. He was so depressed. Could they have invisibility sacred artifacts? A spiritual deity guessed. Is that possible? Su Xing couldn't believe it. Why hadn't he heard of sacred artifacts that could turn things invisible? How is that impossible? You're too ignorant, the spiritual deity said disdainfully. The level of this dimension isn't as high as ours, so it's normal that he doesn't know. Another spiritual deity interrupted, helping Su Xing out. What should we do now? Su Xing looked at the spiritual deity who spoke up for him with gratitude. Find them. I don't believe they can escape so quickly. Even though there were invisibility sacred artifacts, given the strength of those people, it was almost impossible to leave the general's mansion without alerting them. Okay. A few spiritual deities immediately went to search the general's mansion. Inside the heaven and earth bracelet. Little girl, will they find us? The old man couldn't help asking. It was not that he was afraid of death, but the disparity in their strength would be very disadvantageous to them if they faced them head-on. No, don't worry. Lung Ruoxue comforted. Where did Su Xing find so many spiritual deities? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement. Yes, isn't there supposed to be no spiritual deities on the Lingfeng continent? Lung Ruoxue was also a little puzzled. From what she knew, the strongest humans on the Lingfeng continent now were spiritual supremacies. Spiritual deities seem to have disappeared for 1,000 years. They're not from the Lingfeng continent at all. The old man snorted coldly with contempt. He really didn't expect Su Xing to be able to contact people from the upper realm. This Su family is really a disaster. You mean? Lung Qingtian suddenly understood. Grandpa, what's the matter? Swear, the reason why there are no spiritual deities on the Lingfeng continent is that the spiritual deities have all gone to another dimension. To put it simply, after becoming a spiritual deity, they will ascend to a higher dimension. These people should have descended from that dimension, Lung Qingtian explained. These things were recorded in the Lung family's genealogy, but if not for the old man's reminder, he really wouldn't have remembered. He had also never told Shuer and Ruhan about these things because they were still young. Can people from higher dimensions descend as they please? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. The Lingfeng continent was not the only space in the universe. She had heard from her master as well, but she remembered that her master had also said that people from higher-level dimensions couldn't enter lower-level dimensions at will. Otherwise, it would cause spatial chaos, and at the same time, they would be obliterated by the heaven and earth laws. Then these people? Of course not. If they could descend casually, then wouldn't the Lingfeng continent be the backyard of those powerhouses? The old man said. Didn't they descend? Little girl, if those people want to come to the Lingfeng continent, they will have to pay a massive price. Moreover, these people are only spiritual deities. Spiritual deities might be the top powerhouses on the Lingfeng continent, but they are only at the bottom of the hierarchy in the upper realm. More importantly, the heaven and earth laws don't allow powerhouses above spiritual deity to enter the Lingfeng continent. Otherwise, why do you think the Su family only sent these spiritual deities down? The old man explained patiently. He believed that no one knew more details than him on the entire Lingfeng continent. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Although the Su family had only sent spiritual deities, they were not existences she could deal with at her current stage. When she thought of this, a sense of frustration welled up in her heart. During this time, it had been too smooth sailing for her, and she almost didn't encounter any setbacks. But the appearance of these people woke her up, letting her know that she wasn't omnipotent nor the strongest. But at the same time, these people aroused her intense fighting spirit. Because if she couldn't even defeat these people, then not to mention the strongest enemies she would have to face in the future, she probably wouldn't even be able to protect her loved ones. Through the heaven and earth bracelet, Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes coldly sized up the spiritual deities wantonly destroying the general's mansion, and she remembered their appearances. As the saying went, it was never too late to seek revenge. She might not be their match now, but it didn't mean that she would never be able to deal with them. How is it? Did you find them? A spiritual deity asked his partner in the general's mansion. There isn't even a fly, a spiritual deity said and cursed nonstop. Seniors, we have to find them. We can't let them run away, Su Xing said anxiously. Of course we have to find them, but we can't find them now, a spiritual deity in black said impatiently. Su Xing, do you have any good ideas? I have an idea. We can't find them, but we can force them out. Su Xing felt that his idea was really too good. How do we force them? A spiritual deity asked. How could they force them when there wasn't even the shadow of a single person in the huge general's mansion? We can use the commoners of Phoenix City to force them to show themselves, Su Xing suggested after some thought. The commoners of Phoenix City aren't related to the general's mansion, so they wouldn't be in their consideration. If it were you, would you come out? Someone said while looking at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Lung Qingtian is a great general after all. I don't dare to say it for others, but he definitely won't leave those ordinary people alone, Su Xing said with great certainty, his face full of confidence. Let's give it a try then, the spiritual deity said in agreement. Afterward, Su Xing led dozens of spiritual deities out of the general's mansion, which they had gained nothing from, gloomily toward the busiest street in Phoenix City. These people are too despicable. Lung Qingtian roared furiously within the bracelet. Old Lung, calm down. Aren't you just doing what they want? Lin Liang walked to Lung Qingshan's side and comforted him. Chapter 192. Luring the enemy into an urn too. Then what should we do? Lung Qingtian glared at Lin Liang with some displeasure. Su Xing was right that he really cared about the lives of ordinary people. Unfortunately, what Su Xing didn't know was that he, Lung Qingtian, cared more about the safety of his loved ones and friends. Although those people were innocent, he couldn't be so noble as to endanger his family and friends for strangers. He was also selfish. Don't worry. Let's discuss a good plan, the old man said. They really didn't know what Su Xing was thinking. He actually planned to use ordinary people to threaten them. In fact, at their level, how many of them would be soft-hearted, whose hands were not stained with blood? Moreover, they could even sacrifice relatives if necessary, so what were these commoners? It's definitely not wise to go out to die while knowing that they're threatening us, Lung Ruoxia said after some thought. However, I can go out and lure them away, Lung Ruoxia continued. It was impossible to send her family and friends to their deaths because of strangers. But if the commoners were persecuted because of them, it was also not the outcome they wanted to see. She could leave them in the lurch, but she didn't want anyone to be hurt because of her. She was also very conflicted about this. No way, the few people present said in unison. Even the beasts that slowly surrounded her had disapproval written all over their faces. Master, I won't let you out. The little black fox jumped into Lung Ruoxia's arms coquettishly. Yes, master. It's too dangerous outside. Don't go out, Rai said as he wrapped himself around Lung Ruoxia's wrist. Master, Charm will be worried. Charm also jumped into Lung Ruoxia's arms. The people outside were all spiritual deities of similar strength to them, but they outnumbered them by more than twofold. With such a huge disparity in combat strength, it would be wise to hide and wait for the right opportunity. Master. The word worry was written in Quill's sharp eyes. Don't be so nervous. I'm just going out to lure them away. If there's any danger, it'll come in immediately, Lung Ruoxia explained. She probably wouldn't have such thoughts if not for the heaven and earth bracelet. In that case, we'll go out with you, the old man said after some thought. He couldn't let the little girl go out alone. Instead of worrying about her inside, it would be better to go with her. No, you stay inside. If too many people go out, we will become separated. We won't be able to take care of each other then, and it will be easy for problems to arise. Lung Ruoxia denied the old man's idea. Okay, all of you stay inside. I definitely have to go with Schwer, Freak said seriously while chewing on a spirit fruit. Schwer better forget about leaving me behind. You stay inside too, Lung Ruoxia said unquestionably. Schwer. Freak looked at Lung Ruoxia aggrievedly with tears shining in his eyes. Don't play dirty, Lung Ruoxia said without any room for negotiation, and immediately left the heaven and earth bracelet. Then Lung Ruoxia summoned Quill. Quill, let's go lure those people away. This is the only thing we can do for the innocent commoners now. Lung Ruoxia sat on Quill's back and patted his giant eagle head gently. Yes, master. Quill nodded happily. He flapped his huge wings as he jumped into the air. He knew that his master wouldn't leave him behind. What's so great about him? Isn't it just a pair of wings? Dazzle said with a face full of envy in the bracelet. Boo. Why don't I have wings? If I could fly, master wouldn't have called that stinky bird out. That's right. Actually, I can fly too, but master has never asked me to fly. She only calls that annoying bird. Rise complained. He also grew a pair of wings after advancing to Divine Beast. But unfortunately, his master had never used him once. Master doesn't love me anymore, Charm, who had always been composed and understanding, said with some disappointment. Schwer is mine. Yi Chen roared furiously as he looked at the beasts wallowing in self-pity. Master is ours, the beasts shouted in unison, unwilling to be outdone. Lung Qingtian and the others had a few black lines on their foreheads as they listened to the conversation between Yi Chen and the beasts. Alas! The enemies outside were eyeing them, yet they were fighting within. Outside the heaven and earth bracelet, Quill carried Lung Ruoxue and quickly caught up to Su Xing and the others. Su Xing, are you looking for me? Lung Ruoxue stood on Quill's back in midair, facing Su Xing and the others. A puny little spiritual sovereign actually dares to be so arrogant, Su Xing said disdainfully while looking at Lung Ruoxue with hatred. That's better than exploiting the might of others. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile, neither irritated nor angry. Lung Ruoxue, you're dead meat. I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger, his eyes shooting out raging flames. Really? I really want to know why you won't let me go? Lung Ruoxue deliberately provoked. You. Su Xing couldn't take it anymore. He was about to rush over and kill Lung Ruoxue when someone stopped him. Young master said that Lung Ruoxue can't be killed, said the person who stopped Su Xing expressionlessly. Senior, don't worry. I won't kill her. I just want to teach her a lesson so that her claws don't hurt Grandpa, Su Xing explained. Don't hurt her face, the man warned coldly before retracting his arm, no longer stopping him. Thank you for granting my wish, Senior. Su Xing bowed gratefully. It seemed like his efforts during this period had finally paid off. Otherwise, why would these people be so easygoing? Lung Ruoxue, take this. Just as Su Xing was about to use his frosty palm, he saw the eagle flying away with Lung Ruoxue. He was so angry. Chase! Someone said. Su Xing and the others released their flying spirit beasts to chase after Lung Ruoxue. Quill, fly slower, Lung Ruoxue said very kindly. These people might be spiritual deities, but it was obvious that they didn't do well in the upper realm. Otherwise, why would their spiritual beasts be inferior to hers? Chapter 193. Luring the enemy into an urn 3? Yes, master. Quill flapped his wings gently and slowed down. Moreover, he would look back from time to time. If he saw those people catching up, he would increase his speed. Otherwise, he would fly slowly. Hurry! Hurry up! We're about to catch up, Su Xing said anxiously while constantly hitting his spirit beast. They were about to catch up just now, but in the blink of an eye, Lung Ruoxue escaped again. Su Xing was incomparably depressed. Just like that, Su Xing and the others chased after her, until they forced her into an uninhabited valley. Lung Ruoxue, let's see where you can run to now. Su Xing laughed arrogantly. His face had a triumphant expression, and his sinister and vicious eyes released a bloodthirsty glare. Who said I was going to run away? Can't you see that I was specially waiting for you? Lung Ruoxue said mockingly while glancing at Su Xing like he was an idiot. Continue being stubborn. There will be a time when you cry later, Su Xing said nonchalantly. Alas! No one believes the truth. What kind of world is this? Lung Ruoxue said helplessly, but she was communicating with her grandfather and the others in the bracelet. Grandpa, do you have any plans? Lung Ruoxue asked in her head. Schwer, there are 11 people outside now, including Su Xing, right? Lung Qingtian asked to confirm. Yes, a bunch of people are missing. I don't know where they went, Lung Ruoxue said. When she stopped Su Xing and the others just now, she found that nearly half the people were gone. Afterward, she lured these people here according to what her grandfather said. Schwer, it's a good opportunity for us now that they are not at full strength. As long as we kill them here, we will be safer when we find an opportunity to get rid of the others, Lung Qingtian explained. They wouldn't dare to take this risk if they didn't have so many divine beasts on their side. Okay. Lung Ruoxue also felt that this was a good opportunity. Otherwise, when everyone from Su Xing's side was here, they really wouldn't be their opponents. Lung Ruoxue die. Su Xing slowly activated his frosty palm, ready to strike at any moment. Do you think you're the only one with help, and I don't? With a thought, Lung Ruoxue released her grandfather and the others, as well as all their beasts. Haha, you cowards are finally willing to show yourselves? Su Xing laughed hysterically when he saw Lung Qingtian and the others appear. He was really afraid that they would never dare to show themselves again. As for the cute and fluffy beasts, he automatically ignored them. You still don't know who the coward is? You only knew how to hide in a mouse hole without help, but you start being cocky when you find help. Be careful. Joy begets sadness, the old man said. It was fine when the old man was silent, but Su Xing was almost angered to death as soon as he spoke. Damn it, you old thing. State your name if you have the guts. Su Xing glared furiously, wanting to skin this old man from God knows where alive. Why are you wasting your breath on him? Do it. Lin Liang was getting impatient. He had never felt so aggrieved in his life. Charm, I'll leave those people to you. Lung Ruoxue said softly as she caressed Charm's soft and fluffy fur. Charm nodded as his luxurious purple eyes scanned the spiritual deities, just watching the excitement. He wanted to test the strength of the human spiritual deities. Humans, I want to see whether spiritual deities or us divine beasts are better today, Charm said indifferently. His noble and elegant temperament simply made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. Haha, did we hear you wrong? A palm-sized little fox like you actually dares to call yourself a divine beast? A spiritual deity laughed out loud without giving face after hearing what Charm said. There were not many divine beasts in their world, so he didn't believe at all that this fox could be one. You will regret underestimating your enemy, Charm said calmly. He had decided that this guy would be his opponent. After deciding on his opponent, Charm turned to look at his companions and communicated silently before directly flying at the human spiritual deity, who despised him. Leave that ugly short fatty to me, Dazzle said. Then he shook his fluffy little tail and dashed toward his opponent. Then I want that thin monkey, Rise said reluctantly. He had also taken a liking to the short fatty, but a certain other beast beat him to it, so he could only choose another unique one to make do with. I want the one with black hair. Cool chose for a long time. No matter how he looked, he couldn't stand the sight of the man with thick black hair. After all, he was also black and had feathers. Lung Ruoxue listened to the discussions of her beasts. Wow. Must my beasts be so cute? Ruoxue, your beasts have character. Lin Liang praised. Hee, did you just realize it? Lung Qingtian smiled proudly. His granddaughter's beasts were very interesting. Thunder Knight, you should go too. Lung Qingtian turned his head and said to his beast. Yes, master, Thunder Knight replied and then flew out, heading straight for the opponent he chose. You guys go too. Don't embarrass master. The old man and Lin Liang said to their beasts. Yes, master. The two beasts heard their master's words and rushed to their opponents eagerly. The three of us will deal with the remaining spiritual deity. Leave Su Xing to Ruoxue and Yichen. Lin Liang said to the old man and Lung Qingtian while looking at the remaining two people. All right, little girl. I'll leave that old thing to you, the old man shouted while staring at Su Xing. Lung Ruoxue glanced at Su Xing and said indifferently, Okay, leave this old bastard to us. Damn girl, I won't let you go. Su Xing roared in anger. He was really pissed off. He was a spiritual supremacy after all, but he was humiliated by a little girl. How could he take this lying down? At this point he only wanted to kill Lung Ruoxue to vent his anger, and he had long forgotten what the young master had said. Chapter 194. Deliberately complicating an issue. Accident. 1. After roaring, Su Xing directly threw out his ready frosty palm at Lung Ruoxue. The strong wind from his palm accompanied by a piercing chill drifted in the valley. While the frosty palm was flying toward her, Lung Ruoxue released her fire attribute spiritual power at the same time. A tremendous amount of fire attribute spiritual power blocked in front of her, forming a wall. Freak also used his black spiritual power to welcome Su Xing's frosty palm without fear. Su Xing had used at least 90% of his spiritual power in this strike, causing the already low temperature in the valley to fall even lower. The people and beasts fighting around them naturally felt the cold, and Lung Ruoxue and Yichen felt it even more directly. So cold. Lung Ruoxue, who was in the wind, couldn't help exclaiming. Fortunately, the fire attributes spiritual power. She released dispelled part of the coldness. Otherwise, this strike alone could have frozen her into ice. Between him and Charm, I wonder who's better at ice skills? She couldn't help feeling a little curious. Swear, I'll give you some warmth. Freak stretched out his long arms and shielded Lung Ruoxue in his arms, casually taking advantage of her. You adulterous couple. I won't let you go. You're all dead. Su Xing looked at Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen, who were still flirting and teasing each other in the middle of the battle. He was so angry. Adulterous couple? Freak, is he talking about us? Lung Ruoxue asked with a confused expression. But she didn't delay at all, and released her spiritual skills one after another. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Lung Ruoxue threw the spiritual skills out regardless of whether they were single target or group attacks. Whether they were fire, water, or wind spiritual skills, as long as they were offensive ones, she threw them at Su Xing. For a time, colorful spiritual powers flashed dazzlingly in the sky of the entire valley. Opposite them, Su Xing was jumping around in a sorry state, and sparks were flying from his body. All sorts of spiritual powers surrounded him, seemingly teasing him and attacking him from time to time. We are not adulterers. We are legal. Swear, when are you going to give me a title? The freakingly beautiful face was full of anticipation, and his watery black eyes blinked nonstop. While speaking, he didn't stop what he was doing and released a ball of black spiritual power to liven things up after seeing how Su Xing was in such a sorry state and hopping about. With the addition of the ball of black spiritual power, Su Xing seemed to be in an even more pathetic state. The spiritual powers seemed to have discussed it over and switched with each other alternately to attack him. You. What kind of evil spiritual skills are these? Fight me one-on-one if you dare. Su Xing provoked loudly. Freak, he wants us to fight him one-on-one. You shameless old man. You brought so many people to kill us, but you still have the cheek to get us to fight one-on-one? Freak said with a face full of scorn. That's right. You old monster, don't you have any shame? The old man, who was fighting with a spiritual deity, couldn't help interjecting to agree. Freak, let's not play with him anymore. Let's end this quickly. Lung Ruoxue said. Okay. He nodded. A ball of black spiritual power gathered in his palm again. He held the black spiritual power ball and said softly, Go! Destroy him. The spiritual power seemed to understand. It jumped twice slightly, then charged at Su Xing at the speed of light and disappeared into his body. At the same time, Su Xing also unleashed his second and third strikes, attacking Lung Ruoxue and Freak. After 2 consecutive strikes, the temperature in the valley plummeted several degrees lower than before, and a layer of ice even formed over the surrounding mountains. Little girl, kill him quickly. It's so cold. The old man yelled, finding it a little unbearable. Boo-hoo. He was getting old, so he was most afraid of the cold. All right. Freak, move aside. Freak obediently took a few steps back and gave up his spot to Swear. Lung Ruoxue took out her sharp sword, which gleamed coldly. Su Xing, I'll let you have a taste of my meteor sword technique. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. After Lung Ruoxue integrated Feather of the Fire Phoenix into her sword technique, its power increased several times. A silvery white light with a burning tail feather rapidly flew toward Su Xing. The spiritual phoenix feather circled Su Xing twice, then divided into countless feathers of the same size, and began to circle Su Xing. Su Xing dodged left and right. After evading the feather, he didn't even have the chance to show off before he realized that the feather was splitting and becoming more and more numerous. What's going on? Su Xing was instantly dumbfounded. The small phoenix feathers didn't give Su Xing any chance to react and prepare to unleash his fourth strike. Instead, they directly surrounded him from head to toe. In an instant, Su Xing became a fiery man. Aha! A blood-curdling scream resounded from the Human Torch. A few seconds later, the Human Torch fell to the ground. On the other side of the battlefield, the beasts were still engaged in a fierce battle with their enemies. You damn beast! I'm going to kill you. The spiritual deity fighting Charm roared in anger. This damn fox actually killed his spirit beast. He wouldn't let it go. You are the beast, a giant fox more than 10 meters tall said calmly. Charm was currently in his strongest combat state, and the human spiritual deity was like a dwarf compared to him. Have a taste of my ice purgatory, Charm said and sent a stream of ice attribute spiritual power toward the spiritual deity. The cold was bone-piercing, and in the blink of an eye, the spiritual deity was frozen into a human-shaped ice sculpture. At this point, the battles of the other beasts were almost over, and only Lung Qingshan's group was still fighting on the battlefield. Master, do you need my help? Thunder Knight said a little worriedly while watching the battle. In a fight of the same level, humans wouldn't be able to defeat spirit beasts, so their opponents were almost too weak to withstand a single blow. But their master's opponent was stronger than their masters, so it seemed a little strenuous. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.